Thursday afternoon in our fair and fine city. How's everybody doing today?
Oh, just splendid, sir. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I did call our city a fine city.
Yeah.
And then I saw that on Twitter. It made me just stop really quickly because I saw on Twitter today, KGW, they had the old fact checker thing. You know, they do like the old fact checker.
Mm-hmm.
The verify, little boop beep. Yes, Portland has had more homicides than Seattle and San Francisco so far this year. I was like, maybe
we're number one. We're number one.
No,
we're number
bad,
one.
Bad. Significantly smaller city. Significantly smaller city. So when I said our fair city, I was like, oh boy. I don't know what to say now. What? Sunny Portland.
I can tell you this: it wasn't me.
All right. Okay. All right,
no
Shaggy.
one was accusing you yet.
All right, there, Shaggy. It wasn't me. That song, a banger.
Great song.
You were like 3 when that song came.
Still have it on my phone.
Do you really?
I got 3 Shaggy songs on my phone. Can you guess the 3?
It wasn't me. I forget. I don't know what other song Shaggy has.
It's a bombastic, very bombastic.
Oh,
that
yeah,
one?
yeah.
And
His
then,
original.
Mr.
Bombastic.
It's the one where, dang it, now I gotta go look at my phone. It's the one where it's like...
you don't even know.
No,
you can't even
Is she
name
gonna
3
be there
Shaggies.
with you for the long haul?
What?
That one? I think it's Angels.
Is that Emo Will? Does Emo Will listen to that song?
There's no such thing as Emo
when you're
Will.
sad and lonely? Oh man, it was on me. But that was a little jarring news tidbit that I saw this morning about our great city, Portland, Oregon, United States of America. More homicides in Seattle and San Francisco. Good thing it's not combined. So we got that going
Yeah,
for us.
when you started to say that, I thought you were going to say combined.
No. You know, that's always a bad
What
one.
was
You
the
don't wanna
number,
do that.
though? Do you remember?
Oh, I have it open right now. 22 homicides in the first 3 months. Seattle 9, San Francisco 8.
So it is more than those two
Actually,
combined.
it is more than those 2 combined. Yeah, that is true.
Also, does it sound weird if I say 22 doesn't sound like that many?
Yep, that is weird, buddy. For 3 months? Yep. That is weird. 22 is a lot.
I know it is. I'm saying it doesn't sound like that many just because every time you flip on the TV, whether it's CSI or any version of that show, Law and Order, somebody's dying.
That's that whole desensitized.
Yeah, you just like the actual numbers versus reality of like actually how many. Although don't Google how many unsolved murders there are in the country.
Don't want to do
It
that.
is a massive number.
Don't want to do that.
I want to say it's like 55,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, it's a huge number.
All right. Just in the United States?
Yeah.
I remember I used to watch that
Again,
show.
this is over like the course of like
ever.
70 years or 80 years, whatever the recorded.
Forever.
Yeah. It's a massive number.
Huh. Well, it brings me to. Oh, no. Nearly 340,000 cases of homicide and non-negligent manslaughter went unsolved from 1965 to 2022.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 55,000. You really lowballed that.
Well, I couldn't remember what the number was, but I remember it being massive.
Yeah, I remember watching that show, The First 48, in like
It's
the city of Louisville, Kentucky has like per capita the most unsolved.
maybe that's what it
murder
was. Maybe
mysteries.
there's one city that has 55.
I don't know if that.
1,000
I
or
don't
one
think
region.
that. I don't think they were that.
What was
high.
the time frame again?
1965 to 2022.
When was DNA first introduced? Because I feel like...
Well, at the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Well, no, but like when were they using... Don't do that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Because
It's
they
actually
couldn't...
where it all
Nope.
started, Will.
They could not use DNA in court for a very long time. So I feel like most of those are from back in the old days,
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
around your guys'
Yeah.
birth, when
I
they
think-
couldn't use
I
DNA.
think it was,
Did you catch that?
Yeah,
He
I know.
snuck that in.
He old guy does. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if like
Look,
most of them
fair
come from
play.
before you could use DNA, who cares?
Okay.
Like, not who cares, but you know what I mean? Like, of course they didn't catch him.
Yeah.
To be
That's
honest,
5,964.9 per year.
DNA isn't used all that often in
Really?
solving murders. No, it's
well,
it's still there have been a lot of cases that have been thrown out because it's DNA and a lot of the markers more often than not you can't get 100% conclusive evidence.
we were talking about this before the show, but it's usually people being dum-dums.
yes,
I mean, we were talking about how
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez's fiance was like, "Oh, it's a cruel world. My kids are gonna like grow up and they're gonna see the roast of Tom Brady, and it's gonna be all about Aaron Hernandez jokes." And I was like, no. There's a Netflix documentary you might want to check
Yeah.
out. There might be this thing called the internet that
Sup-
they're gonna have
super murdery.
access to.
yeah.
Like it's gonna be pretty prominent on his Wikipedia page forever.
It's gonna be there's gonna be links, a lot of blue.
There's
Lot of blue
gonna
in the,
not be good.
uh.
But when you think about it, did you watch that Aaron Hernandez not Netflix
Yeah.
doc? Yeah. So basically, like the turning point in the case was Dum Dum for a lot of different reasons.
Yes.
But when he stopped at the gas station because he needed his Bubblicious bubble gum
Mhm.
on the way to be all murdery.
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh, so now we can put him in the area." And then it's usually people being stupid.
Yes.
Criminals not smart.
No.
Like back in the day,
That's why
I feel
I've never been
like
caught.
well, I was gonna say like back in the day, if you don't get caught on camera and someone doesn't see you, you got away with it.
Also, saying like if you go back in time, man, the amount of crimes I could commit, not even murder, just crime in general that I could get away with.
Yeah.
It's- like think about how easy it was to like what's that movie? Catch Me If You Can. The
Yeah.
DiCaprio Frank Abagnale. Like a lot of that stuff in the movie is not real, but him working for the FBI and the fraud department, like that was a real thing. Like that, he ended up becoming.
It's actually a good idea.
Yeah, like it's well, to be fair, the military and the government in general, if you were somebody who is hyper advanced at whatever crime, whether it be cybercrime, fraud, manipulation of documents, those kind of things, you end up working for the government in some capacity or another.
So what's gonna happen to the GTA kid?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no,
he's-
that kid
he's-
is locked up.
Yeah, he is super scary.
Yeah, like he's a legitimate supervillain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to watch
Re-
the world burn.
Now,
Now,
if you don't know,
he will
that
probably-
story, correct me if I'm wrong here. The Grand Theft Auto leaks that came out. There's this kid who
I think he's
um,
11 years old.
he was stripped of all of his access
Mm-hmm.
to electronics and the internet and all that stuff. Yet he was able to hack in via a television,
Mhm.
a smart TV,
A
and a
Amazon
like Fire Stick,
Fire Stick, and cell phone.
and that's how he was able to hack into
High level encrypted data.
and steal all of the Grand Theft Auto stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, "How did you do this?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Okay, no. You're now no more shows."
Yeah, no, they have him in a secure facility where he does not have access to that stuff.
Yeah.
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 But also,
Your TV privileges have been revoked.
if you don't think that the government's also talking to him and working with him on stuff, then
That's
you're out of your mind.
terrifying stuff. Isn't he German or something? He's not American, is he?
No. He was international. It was, I believe you're right. It was German,
Something like that.
UK, it was one
Ooh.
of those.
You see Malcolm Brogdon's
Polish.
now?
Yeah, that's been a thing. Sean Hyken had the first report on that. His wife's father is Polish.
Wife's father's
And
Polish, so
he's
he
doing this to possibly play for the Polish national team upcoming in the Olympics.
All right. Look, I would do that if I he's not making Team USA,
No.
obviously.
No, there's a lot of guys. There's a couple guys that play for Israel. There's a couple guys that play for.
Well, DeAndre Ayton plays for the Bahamas.
Well, he's Bahamian. Like,
yeah,
he's legitimate.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
But
talking
he went to
about
high
guy-
school in the States.
But I'm talking about people that don't have any real lineage.
Well,
to
look
stuff.
at the World Baseball Classic where the great Mike Piazza played for Italy.
Hmm.
He's not. I mean, his family's Italian.
It's still.
His family's
Yeah,
Italian.
no, but that's
They-
a straight line to draw.
You go, but that's what you have to do with
Yeah.
the Olympics. Is like you go.
yeah,
I
but
can squint.
But
I can
Brogdon's
squint.
not
I'll get
Polish.
there.
It's his wife's father.
Yeah, it's basically him.
If it was his kid, sure,
It's basically him.
because his kid is technically Polish.
Yeah,
But
Well, he's Polish.
that's right.
Yeah.
He's Polish.
He's Polish.
Polish. You know. So Blazers going to have a couple Olympians. How about that? But the real flex is what Embiid is doing, where Embiid can play for 3 different countries, and he's like, I'm so damn good, I'm going to play for the United States.
Well, he told the French he told the French he was going to play for him,
Well,
and then he said,
psych.
"Yeah."
And I bet,
But also that
I bet
that
Embiid.
knee,
And I don't know if he's going to be playing.
don't know if he's gonna go.
I could,
interesting.
I could legitimately see Embiid pulling a psych and actually telling the French that, you know,
Yeah, I mean
like doing it via
the
GIF
the French team
in
coordinator
a text message. Psych.
said that Embiid was going to play for us.
Well,
and then
Oh, what
I
are they
like-
going to do with Victor Wembanyama
Yeah.
and Rudy Gobert
Yeah.
and
they would have had
Alex Sarr
Yeah.
and Ryan Rupert?
He's not going to be on this cycle.
Fournier.
He will be. I don't think Evan's playing in this cycle. Batum is.
Tony Parker.
He's done.
Eva Longoria.
She's super done with him.
Mm.
But can she be French-ish?
Who's the Gonzaga guy? The French guy?
Killian Tilly.
Nope. No.
That guy still
No,
plays
no.
basketball?
No, the other guy. The guy who played for the French national team. Come on now.
The other Tilly?
No, older. NBA. This isn't going well for me.
No.
This is not going well for
French
me.
Gonzaga guy.
Yeah.
You're going old Gonzaga. All I can think
Mhm.
of is Derek Ravio.
No. No.
I know he's not French. He's from
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah. Rony Turioff.
Oh,
Woo!
God.
Rony Turioff. That's the one.
He
Yeah.
went to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of their first ones.
Yeah.
That was. I want to say that was one of Few's very first like international gets.
Rony Turioff.
But yeah, no. This cycle, France is going to be a good team. Next cycle, France is going to be terrifying.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be really
They're
good.
going to put in the next 2 to 3 years. They're going to put probably 15 guys into the NBA that are first round draft picks. I'm not kidding. It's absolutely insane.
The old French Revolution
This
happening.
This is like Spain had their golden generation. This is France's. Like
Hmm.
this is, and it's not going to just be like just regular dudes. They're going to have a ton of very high quality players.
This is why the states can't let our foot off the gas. We got to
No.
keep sending our best over.
Mhm.
Got to keep doing it.
Can't mess around and find out because that's why you lose in FIBA.
We got to send our best, including Embiid if he's healthy. If he's healthy. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen, is
no.
it?
We might want to send him there so that he is on the French team so he can
Could
blow it
Ooh.
late.
That's not bad.
Haven't be gassed.
That's not bad. It's not bad. We need to start working on Giannis for 2028. You know?
He's already used his Greek citizenship. You can't. Once you play for a nation, you're done.
Wait, Embiid's never played in the Olympics?
Mm-mm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's been hurt.
That's a bummer.
Mhm.
Dang. So he's going to be.
Once you commit, you're in.
What about Thanasis and his torn Achilles?
Yeah. Was he celebrating Giannis doing something?
Maybe he was just playing basketball
Hmm.
because he didn't get to do that for like the last 2 months of the year.
True. But no, all of the brothers all play for Greece. I mean, it's a short.
I could see.
It's a short
I could
roster.
see why.
Yeah.
I could see why. Something popped up the other day on my I don't know what social media of it was like the FIBA World Cup of basketball,
Mhm.
and it was like 14 and under girls basketball, and it was United States, and it was just like them waiting in the tunnel going out to play.
Mhm.
United States versus El Salvador.
Oh no!
And these poor girls for El Salvador
Like
were
a
literally
foot shorter.
looking up,
Yeah.
and it was like, yep, this final score is 119-14.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, El Salvador has the shortest average population in the world.
Is that it?
It's one of those nations right
Jeez.
there. It has that or Panama.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a lot of short kings and queens.
Kings and
Yeah,
queens out there.
not they do great at soccer,
But it was just like
but the basketball's not so
Goodness
much.
the discrepancy was alarming.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Alarming. It was like most of these girls were coming up to like their elbow of the United States players. But
It's a country named Timor-Leste.
Then Laos
Okay.
and Solomon Islands, and
All right.
that's because of the
how tall are people there? Will?
populations.
What are we talking here?
They are stupid ad. They are 5'3", boys 19.
The
The boys at 19.
19 and over are 5'3".
5'3".
Honduras is 5'3". The smallest I think it overall is like the actually like
Wow.
populated nations, the bigger nations. I
Yeah.
believe is the Philippines.
Will, you need to go to what did you say the country was? Timu?
Timor-Leste?
Timor. You need to go there. You could be an Olympian
I'm good.
basketball player.
I'm good. I don't think I need to go there.
You don't want to go to the Olympics? You don't want part of the
Eh.
Olympic Village? Qualifying for the Olympics is probably going to be the tougher part.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's nothing that I could do
Wow.
that would get me qualified.
The average
Basketball.
Yemen, the average
No.
Yemeni is 5 foot and 1.78 inches tall. The average male is 5 foot 2.94 inches.
Dang.
The average woman height in the Philippines is 4'10".
Whoa. That's wild.
There's Guatemala. There's Laos. Then Timor-Leste.
what is like the tallest country? Is it like
Guess.
Denmark?
Oh, that's pretty good. It's the Netherlands.
Ah, yeah, the Netherlands. We knew it was
Is
going
the
to be
average
Nordic,
height 5'10" for men?
Netherlands, 6
Nordic or
foot.
Netherlands.
6 foot, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
Montenegro 6 foot, and then it's like Estonia, Bosnia, Iceland, Denmark. It all says
Soviet
like
bloc.
I think they're all like around 5'11". Czech Republic 5'11", Latvia 5'11",
Yeah.
Slovakia.
All of the Balkans.
And that's
Yeah, 5'11".
average?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the average.
Yeah.
Now I
Yikes.
just need to find the average female height out there.
Well, I
In
think
countries, it's going to be the Balkans.
yeah, it'll be
That
you're,
might
you're
be-
looking at Serbia, Slovakia, Bosnia. Like you're going there.
Just off my cursory, been around the world a lot. There's a lot of very tall women in the Balkans.
All right.
I know where I'm visiting,
Go to Prague.
dude.
Go to Prague.
Go to Prague. It's nothing but 5'10".
I
Beautiful
turned
women.
down a football offer to play in Prague.
Why?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You clearly did not know.
Yeah.
Well, one, I didn't know, but I also thought I was
I
going to
did-
play in Canada, and then
Prague
like
has the
3
most
months
beautiful
later, I was
people on the
working
planet.
here.
Like it's the most beautiful. Like when
You're
it comes to
welcome.
people, when
Yeah,
you're just
thank
walking
you.
around people watching, you will never see more attractive people.
See,
I
it's
know.
terrifying.
I messed up. I know.
I've had buddies that have gone over and played in like Rome. One of my buddies played in Berlin and
Mhm.
said it was the most incredible experience of
Yeah,
all time.
They
'cause-
love it.
Yeah,
They
Yeah.
love football in Germany.
they do.
Oh.
They do, and not very many people know about
Mm.
it. And you're just like this American that's over there
You
playing.
have these little
American
Bavarian
football.
hill villages that just like live and die with football.
That's pretty cool.
It's super cool.
That's badass.
But yeah,
I
no,
know, I
the
messed up.
you go to the Balkans.
You did
and
mess
it's
up.
Nothing but the most gorgeous women you've ever seen in your life.
I messed up. Hand up.
Yep.
I'll be better.
Yeah, you don't get
Yeah,
paid
it's-
a lot. Sometimes you just don't get paid,
600 a week.
but it's worth it.
Everything
Free
else was
trip.
paid for.
Yeah, see, they take care of everything else. It's not about making the money. It's about
Free
the
trip.
experience.
600 a week. I know. I thought I was going to play in Canada. It was a thing.
Yeah,
I
well,
apologize.
you were wrong, and now you're working here,
Sucks to
making
suck.
making less than $600 a week.
Depends on how much I sub that week. Depends on how much I sub that week, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
There you go. And the bad part is if you get hurt over there, you're on your own.
Yeah.
You're on your own. Like it's not like
We don't know you.
but
I was getting hurt a
healthcare
lot.
a lot better over there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's like your rehab, all that stuff. Nope, not good.
On to the
news
next.
whatsoever. Yeah, I had a buddy who went and played. He played basketball in Amsterdam, and he ruptured his patella.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was a gnarly injury, very bad injury. But my favorite story is like he went over there and they're like, "Yo, got you a car, all this stuff," and it was like all the cars are tiny,
Mm-hmm.
and he is not a tiny man. He is like 6'7",
Mhm.
and he was like, he and his roommate sharing this little teeny tiny little
Yep.
car, little smart car, and just packed in there, driving around, and they had a badass team name, the Demon Astronauts.
Oh, that's a great name.
Isn't that great?
Wow.
That's a good name.
That's a great name for a team,
Little
right?
Demonauts.
Well, and their mascot looked like the Great Gazoo. He was great. It was awesome.
Ah, that's a solid ripoff. I had a buddy who played basketball overseas, played Long Beach State. He tells stories of not only being in little cars, he's 6'10", but not being able to get paid.
Yeah, that's tough.
A lot of that. He ended up rupturing his Achilles and ended up saying, "I'm done with this."
Yeah.
So came back home. But yeah, the non premier leagues
Oh,
in Europe can be super interesting.
dang. They don't
They-
have that
they
logo
changed the name?
anymore. No, I mean, it's just Amsterdam basketball now.
Oh,
Wah, wah,
well,
wah.
that sucks and blows at the same time.
It
What are you
does.
doing here?
It
You have
does.
a great name.
Yeah, the demon astronauts
Yeah.
of Amsterdam.
Little demonauts.
It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. All right. Now that I'm looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, that was 20 years ago. So
It's been a
those
little
teams,
while.
those teams go under quite
Yeah,
often.
pretty regularly because
Dang.
they can't pay people.
Yeah, that's the truth. All right. Well, I don't know where this segment went, but it went somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
We're right on time.
Let's get to the sports, shall we? We have a lot of basketball that we got to get to today because last night it wasn't the greatest of games, but the storylines have been incredible. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Nova to 34. Just winners. What do you think Jay Wright is saying? Yeah. All right, here's my boys. Uh-oh.
Josh Hart over the top last night as the New York Knicks faithful at the end of that game were chanting F you Reggie.
Mhm.
Josh Hart does the most Josh Hart thing ever and solidifies himself truly as a superhero in New York City now, saying, hey, I think they're saying F you Reggie in the mic on TNT.
To be fair, Reggie probably should have killed his mic right there. But also, for everybody freaking out, if every time you hear a curse word on TNT or ESPN, it's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
It's
but
cable. It's entirely legal and okay. They just don't like it to happen.
Well, yeah, because you got families, you got
Yeah.
kids. My son goes, did he just say the F word? I was like, yeah, buddy. And then he started hearing the crowd yelling. It was like,
Uh-huh.
his eyes lit up, and I was just like, buddy, do not.
Don't do it.
Don't you do it.
Don't do it.
Don't you do
you
it.
Can just see it. You can see him bite his bottom lip like,
But
I'm
yeah,
just
it
with the
was-
crowd, Dad.
Yeah. It
Do-
was.
here real quick.
Yeah.
If you're at the game with him and you're a Knicks fan, your son's a Knicks fan,
Mhm.
and he looks up at you with the big eyes and he knows what's being chanted, do you let it happen?
Oh, no. No.
You don't go.
You
don't
don't
tell
like
your mom.
let it happen. It happens. You give him like the nudge, and you're like, dude, no, knock it off. And then
But you let him get a couple out.
inside. No, you let him get one out, and then inside you're like, yes. But you don't let him know that.
Yes.
You give the hey.
Hey.
We don't talk like that, but you're very proud because that was like the pregame show when they brought him onto the tip-off show when Ben Stiller is in the background, mocking Reggie Miller.
In a live shot.
I had to give my son the rundown of why they're going to hate Reggie Miller, and they did it.
Rip their soul out.
They didn't do as good of a job, I thought, leading up to explain to the people why New York City hates Reggie Miller the way they do, because that hatred is very real.
Yes.
It is and it goes both ways. And I love that Reggie at the beginning of it was just like, dude, what would I have to be worried about? I own this city.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
He
right there.
was leaning into it very much so.
8 points in 9 seconds. Like it in just ripping the soul out of the New York Knicks. It was great to have him on the call. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
Reggie isn't going to just sit there and be over the top.
Knicks
and beat his
fans
own
thought
chest.
he was over the top with the ref stoppage on the double dribble.
Yeah.
But he was right. He's like, I heard the whistle. And then the play-by-play jumped in and goes, yeah, and we saw the call. Like,
They called a double dribble, which was an awful call.
Yeah.
One of several awful calls.
and we'll get into that.
But I thought that everything was perfect, including Reggie at the end of the game when it was in a 10-point game with like a minute to go. And Reggie goes, you can score a lot of points really quickly in this building. It was
Love it.
like all of those little barbs, but that made everything about this Knicks Pacers series that much better. But outside of like the drama surrounding the game, last night's game was clunky. It was ugly, and the Knicks did exactly what they wanted to, which was muddy this thing up, man. And again, the injury bug is biting the New York Knicks, and we keep saying it, but like Jalen Brunson leaves the entire second quarter. And he sits out. He was 15 minutes he sat out. When's the last time Jalen Brunson sat out 15 minutes in a game?
He had to because the foot. And the thing about this, and you keep going, they can't possibly do this. They can't possibly do this. They can't possibly do this. And they keep doing it. But I do think that they are going to run into a wall.
Well, it wasn't just him. OG Anunoby goes out too. Anunoby only played 28 minutes in that game, and he's got a hamstring, man.
And it sounds like he's probably on the cusp of being held out in Game 3 in Indiana.
Did 2 games at home, though. And look, this series, I hope it goes 7. I think when Indiana gets back home, it'll be a little bit different.
They'll get one.
They went the way of the Nuggets in that game. Rick Carlisle started losing his ass, and the entire team, they didn't go all Jamal Murray on everybody, but
their point guard showed up and showed out.
They started to spiral a little bit between the years, and in that regard, they went the way of the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Not nearly as quickly or as dramatically of a into the side of the mountain as what Denver did.
Well, that third quarter was pretty similar to that second quarter for Denver.
But what happened in that game is you sit there and you go, Indiana feels like they should be controlling the series and the game, but they're not. And they're looking for every reason why that's happening, except for looking kind of within, because the officiating is absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
In
And-
this series.
and
It's bad.
We can talk about that a little bit further, but when I look at the game itself, taking the officiating out of it, Tyrese Halliburton did everything he needed to do. 34, 9, and 6, 11 of 19, took the shot, 7-11 from 3. Pascal Siakam's got to show the bleep up.
Missing.
His first 2 games in the playoffs, he was phenomenal. His last 6, he has been abysmal.
He's shooting 44% from the free throw line
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
The last 6 games? Last 6, they played 8 playoff games now, I think is what it is. He's shooting 44 from the field, 17% from 3.
Yikes.
After being phenomenal in the first 2 games against the Bucks. He has got to make an appearance. 7 of 18, 14 points is not going to do it. Miles Turner has got to show up. 3 of 11, 7 on the glass. That's not going to get it done. You're getting 15 from Nembhard on 7 of 9. Like, you're getting TJ McConnell games. You're getting Obi Toppin games. You're getting Ben Shepherd games. You have got to get those guys to show up. And look, the Pacers are not a great defensive team. They're not. But they've got to be more disciplined, and they have got to stop putting freaking Nembhard on Jalen Brunson, for the love of God.
The New York Knicks have scored 130 or more points 3 times this season prior to last night. 2 of them were against the Toronto Raptors, which I don't know if anybody followed. The Toronto Raptors were almost Blazer bad this year.
I mean, they were.
I mean, they were 20.
Yeah.
They did
They
25 wins.
They tried to, but they just couldn't quite catch up.
The other game was that they scored over 130 was, I think, back in December when scoring was through the roof, and they played the Phoenix Suns in a track meet. And so only 3 times have the Knicks scored 130 points up until last night. They get 130 in that game, which that's a game where you mentioned this. The Pacers score, you said 117 is kind of that line,
Yeah,
right?
and it felt like where they were up.
They were
were up then.
and then Brunson goes nuts. Jalen
They
Brunson,
fell apart.
if that guy plays all 48 minutes like Tom Thibodeau would want him to, he probably gets another 40 piece, and he breaks that record for the New York Knicks.
Couldn't even get 30 this game.
What a bum.
Should.
That guy is so damn good. But what has come out of it is the Indiana Pacers are planting the seed, and Rick Carlisle's making no bones about it. That after Big Will Betts with SportsCenter. Despite injuries to Jalen Brunson that kept him out for the entire second quarter, OG Anunoby went down with a hamstring injury, and that affected things for the New York Knickerbockers. But here they are, holding serve on their home court, and the Indiana Pacers are looking for answers. As you look at the way the game was called, Rick Carlisle doesn't have as much of an issue with the fouls that were called, as it was 17-14. Pacers with 3 more fouls called on them than the Knicks. The free throw discrepancy was 22-17. Knicks had that advantage there. But for Rick Carlisle, it's more about the ones that weren't called.
We always go through the film, and games where it felt like, the whistles weren't balanced, and we pull the clips, and there's a way you can submit them to the MDA office. In the playoffs, when you submit things, the other team sees what you submit. And so there were 29 plays in game 1 that we thought were clearly called the wrong way. I decided not to submit them because I just felt like we get a more balanced whistle tonight. It didn't feel that way. Couple examples. 5:08 of the third. The whole world knows that Halliburton's got a bad back, and Hart comes up and shoves him in the back, and it's all over Twitter right now because a few people have showed it to me. And JB DeRosa's looking right at it. You can see him. He's got vision of the play, and he shoves Tyree into the corner, and there's no whistle right in the back. And so that was shocking, and there are many others. But I can promise you that we're going to submit these tonight. New York can get ready. They'll see them too.
They did submit those, and according to Brian Windhorst,
a whole lot more.
It's a whole lot more than those 29 from game 1.
From what I understand, speaking to people this morning, the Pacers were up all night, and they found 49 calls from last night's game that they felt were inappropriately against them. Now, watching the game, I didn't feel like it was that way, but I'm not an expert. So overnight, the Pacers filed the 49 clips and, for good measure, the 29 from game 1. And so when people get in and work at the league office today, they're going to find 78 clips having been submitted from the Pacers to the league office about how they feel this series is being officiated. I think the reason the Pacers are doing this is that they think this series is absolutely still in play.
It is still in play.
It absolutely still is in play. Right now, they've been playing at their pace, and the Knicks have shot the living hell out of the ball, and that's not what their marker is. The Pacers haven't.
The Pacers, by the way, broke that trend. They made 15 three-pointers in the game, and they lost.
And that's the thing. Now, the Pacers don't defend. That's part of this. But they're fully capable of putting up 120 a game regularly. I don't believe the Knicks are. Now, the Knicks are adjusting, but for everybody wondering about the clips being submitted, this happens regularly. This volume, abso-freaking-lutely not.
78 is gigantic. And we can all agree, it has not been
this series has been officiated terribly.
It has been awful, but it has been awful on both sides of it too, because last night I thought Rick Carlisle, he went over the top with the Isaiah Hartenstein with the double dribble.
Mm-hmm.
That was an awful call.
It was the wrong call. But I think he's pissed because of the situation, because the calls are building up, or the lack of calls, or the incorrect calls, or how the series being officiating. And now you get a ref making a call, right or wrong, that gets over. How often do you get a call overruled?
You don't, but at the same time, you had an official who had a clear side of it, and they made it. They made it right. They got it right.
I think it was his frustrations building up of the stupidity of it all.
But then you have Rick Carlisle going on, sounding a little bit more petty.
I'm always talking to our guys about not making it about the officials, but we deserve a fair shot, and it's just not. It's just there's not a consistent balance, and that's disappointing. So Give New York credit for the physicality that they're playing with. But their physicality is rewarded and ours is penalized, just time after time. And so, it's just I'm just really disappointed. Just really disappointed. The two technicals, you got to make a stand for your guys.
On this is not Rick's first rodeo. It's a championship winning coach.
Yep.
He's going to bat for his guys in public. Rick, and when you hear him pause, he's deciding if he wants the $25,000 or the $50,000 fine right there. That's what he's doing. Does he want to throw the Molotov cocktail, or does he just want to give $25,000 to his favorite charity?
Look, I get that this is posturing. He's trying to get more favorable calls when they go back to Indiana, and they will, because that's historically what happens, right or wrong. But the idea that when he loses his cool, the entire team did as well, and they just kind of cash their chips in. The New York Knicks play a style that is more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
There's more contact through and through. And when he's saying that their physicality is being rewarded and ours is not, we're being penalized for it. That, to me, I'm going, well, because you guys aren't a physical basketball
And
team.
I think that's the thing.
You're very bad defensively.
They're finesse, but they don't know how to be physical. Like
and that won't change.
No, and it's not necessarily a shot at them. Like Pascal Siakam's won a title. Like he knows how to be physical, but it's not in their team makeup. It's not in their DNA. Even if they got physical, it's going to be something that's looks awkward. The Knicks, everything they do is physical, so it blends in. It's the same issue the Nuggets are dealing with right now. I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Knicks are second in this list, are the single biggest beneficiaries of the rule changes, so it was, post All-Star break, because Minnesota is so big and so long, and same with New York, and they're so physical that it's like you can't. It's very NFL in the sense of you can't throw a flag every single play.
And that, to me, is, look, people are all over. The NBA's officiating is horrible and it's wrong. This is every sport.
Yeah.
If you have one team that is physical on every single play of every single game, they tend to get penalized a lot, whether it's a foul or a flag in football. But when they keep on doing it time after time after, that's their identity.
It becomes the norm, and
that's who they are.
Yeah.
And then when you try to, as a finesse team, counter that, you're not, because it
looks
doesn't
awkward
look
because
the same.
You're reaching outside the box, and that's the big thing here. And it's not that I don't think Indiana's soft. Like I don't think Pascal's soft. I don't think Miles Turner's soft. I don't think Obi Toppin's soft. TJ McConnell's not soft. Hell, Tyrese Halliburton's not soft. He's out there playing with a back and a freaking hamstring. Like but it's not in their DNA. Like Josh Hart is, he talked about Austin Rivers saying about guys who could play in the NFL. Josh Hart's the kind of guy who loves that. He relishes that contact. He wants to be in that world. He doesn't want to play in open space. He wants to put his shoulder into you. OG Anunoby, my draft profile on him in 2017, you can go back on Twitter a week before the draft. OG Anunoby is the kind of guy that will blow up opposing teams' offenses. He is a wrecking ball. That is who he was coming out of college. He is going to be physical. He's going to maul you. He is a 6'8" brick wall of a human who is going to maul you all game long. Isaiah Hartenstein made it in the NBA because he's got a high IQ and he's physical as hell. Mitchell Robinson took all of Michael's secret stuff and put on 70 pounds from the time that he was drafted till now. Go look at Mitchell Robinson's rookie year, then go look at him now. You tell me that guy's not going to be physical. That whole roster. And then you've got a coach who wants to crush coal into diamonds. That's who they are. And that every bit of that is going to come into that. Carlo's got a point. The series has been officiated horribly. Mark Davis has had his head up his backside more times than I could count already.
It makes it damn near impossible to officiate it like a normal game.
Yes, especially come the playoffs where they're already putting their whistles in their pockets.
Right, there's one more thing that Indiana is crying foul about that I think we have enough evidence to say that ain't it, boss. Danny Dusty on the Fan. He looked like sad Jim Carrey in that. It was like, what is it? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Was that what the movie was? Where Jim Carrey was very serious and sad. That movie
Yeah.
was sad as hell.
Yeah, didn't watch it.
Same.
Oh my gosh. Oh, really? Well, shocking.
Not watching a sad movie.
Or a movie.
I watch plenty of movies.
Ah, the Bluey movie doesn't count.
Bluey.
What the hell is a Bluey?
Oh, dude, you'll
If you got to ask, you can't
understand.
afford it.
Once you start taking care of your kids, you'll understand what Bluey is.
Once I get kids.
But the part of sad Rick Carlisle was him alluding to the fact that the big market team is getting all the calls, right? And it's like what the Pacer fans are just all over, like, they don't want Indiana to win.
I mean, they don't.
But hold on, let's take inventory here really quick.
Mhm.
Who won the NBA title last year?
Denver.
Denver. All right. Who are the top 2 seeds in the West that are absolutely steamrolling through right now?
Yeah, OKC.
OKC and Minnesota. Yeah, not necessarily your biggest markets
No,
in the land,
I mean,
right?
they don't want that.
But this is not it. That is the most ridiculous thing
Adam
in the
Silver
world.
would fall to pieces over an Indiana OKC finals matchup.
It would not be a great finals matchup. No. But the idea that the league is trying to push the Knicks through, come on. Because the better team wins.
Oh, sure.
The better team wins.
God, who was the ref? Was Carl Lewis last year? That he got removed from the NBA?
He was a Celtics
He
fan.
was
He was-
Celtics fan.
Yes, he was on a burner
Yeah.
as a
Defending
Celtics
himself.
fan, and the burner's name was like his wife's maiden name. Wasn't real hard to track
Yeah.
who it was, but somebody on Twitter outed him as a Celtics fan, and guess what? He had been a Celtics fan his whole life.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about like, oh no, these refs are all objective. They don't have
No.
they're humans. They grew up as fans of basketball. That's why they're in the NBA.
They are
have
humans.
They have favorite teams.
For sure they do. For sure they do. But we have seen it's not like the little guy can't go and get one. Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
No,
what
no,
are
no.
we doing here?
And the thing is, like,
Does the
Rick
NBA
knows
want,
what he's doing. He's stoking that
Yeah.
flame on purpose.
does the NBA want the Knicks to play, the
Lakers
Lakers in the
Yes.
title? Yeah, absolutely.
every
they do.
year is what they want.
They want Boston, LA every single year because people will go in droves to watch that. And what we're seeing, New York fans, by the way, the chants outside of MSG, we want Boston. I don't know if you do. I don't know if you guys want Boston with OG hampered by a hamstring, Mitchell Robinson not going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals if they get there, and Jalen Brunson's right foot being injured. I'm not quite sure you want Boston quite yet, but they're all about it. The idea, though, that the NBA is bending over backwards to make sure that the Knicks win. Come on. What are we doing?
It's more fun than it is.
It's what?
It's more fun to believe that it is.
Yes.
And also, Rick knows how to stoke the flames. We're going back to Indiana. Let's go ahead and piss off the home crowd.
With social media, everybody has a voice.
Mhm.
We should pump the brakes because not everybody should be heard about things like this at all times. This is how conspiracy theories start.
Oh, this is great. I love it.
It's the
Like I said, Rick knows what he's doing.
It's the dumbest thing.
He's gonna-
He
there-
knows exactly what
It's
he's
that
doing.
it's going to tip off, and the first call it goes against the Pacers, it's going to be these refs suck, or F the refs, or some version of it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be perfect. It's going to be wonderful.
I just can't wait till it goes sideways in Indiana
Mm.
and Caitlin Clark is sitting courtside and the "We Want Caitlin" chants start.
Mm.
Like when they're on the cusp of elimination, and they're going to be wanting Caitlin Clark to hop in that series.
Yeah.
Save them. We need shooters. We need shooters.
Fun little road.
She could shoot from anywhere.
No, she can shoot from NBA range.
She could shoot from
There's
anywhere.
no doubt about it.
On the floor. That's good. They're gonna roll her out to hype that crowd up. Like they're gonna need any more hyping heading into Game 3.
Oh, God, yeah.
She is going to be, if they're smart, she will be the centerpiece of them getting everybody hyped up for Game 3.
Yeah, do they have what? They don't have like a fire alarm or a wind up thing, or like they got a bell to ring or something.
In Indiana,
I haven't. Indiana's one of the few
Yeah.
places, few arenas that I haven't been to.
yeah, they probably just have like a checkered flag they wave.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
they
Maybe
probably
they have a
Rev
fitness
an engine?
gram pacer
Ooh,
test.
Rev an engine.
Yeah.
I bet that's it right there.
We're just gonna pretend we didn't hear well.
It's fine.
What'd you say?
The Fitness Gram Pacer test. They could have that person speak.
The
Are you guys
fitness-
too old to know about that?
Wait, are you talking about the beeps that
Yeah.
you run back and forth across the gym?
And then it speeds up and speeds up and speeds up and
Yeah.
speed up, and then boom,
You're
fireworks
dead.
shoot off and they come in.
Yeah, there we go. I don't think that's what's going to
No.
happen.
They
I don't
should.
think that's what's going to happen.
No.
That test was made by the devil.
Yes.
It truly was. I found that when I was cleaning all my stuff in my garage,
Mhm.
my presidential
Fitness
fitness
medal?
award.
Yeah.
Yeah, signed by
You guys got awards.
George H.W. Bush,
Yeah, babe.
which means that it was printed with his signature on it. But for me, I thought it was signed by the president himself.
What was that? Was it 13 pull-ups?
I don't remember what it was. It didn't have what you needed to do on there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like was that the rope climb one too?
No, I don't think so. I
Because there's
think it was
a couple
pull-ups.
different ones.
I think it was pull-ups, your running test.
They don't even
PE
test
teacher
pull-ups anymore.
They don't.
Yeah, the number used to be 13. I remember that.
Damn.
Yeah, they do. Like, I mean, you still
I-
run the
'Cause I remember
mile.
when I went from going to be able to do it to not being able to do it.
You still run the
Oh,
mile. You do the
Sit,
pacer.
your sit and reach test.
yeah, there you go.
dude.
Sit and
gotta-
reach. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, do the sit and reach and with your flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah, the pull-ups when I hit was it 230 my senior year, the 13 pull-ups got a lot harder.
Push-ups,
Yeah.
sit-ups. They make you do those.
Yeah.
I think it's a dead hang now, but we never did it.
Oh, I remember like the girls would do the chin up where they just have how long they could have their head above the bar, you know?
Mm,
And there was like a gymnast and we were there
forever.
all class.
Yeah.
Like she was an animal.
Weighed 98 pounds.
No,
was all muscle?
this was like an elementary school.
Oh, okay.
This
This
is elementary school. She's just like hovering over that bar.
so she weighed 7 pounds.
It's
just-
nuts.
Yeah.
It was nuts. All right.
Those children are freaks.
Gymnasts?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like the stuff that, like mentally that they go through. Like when you're that young, you're still springy and spongy and everything goes
Yeah.
back to place. But I have a couple friends that were gymnasts, men and women, who they had no life. Because they do it for like 8
Yeah.
hours a day outside of school.
That's
It's
all they
like,
do.
oh God, no.
That's all they do.
Brutal.
And now all their joints are just screwed
Just
down.
destroyed. Yeah.
Just all of them. It's like, oh, sucks, man. Sorry.
But they can still do a handstand.
They sure can. It's a good party trick. It's a good party trick to throw out there.
Absolutely hammer just walking around doing handstands.
All right, let's get to hour number 2. Well, this first hour's been an adventure. I'm not
has,
gonna
yeah.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. Hour number 2, we got Jamal Murray Speaks. We've got to at some point get to the latest of As the A's Turn, and we have Utah. We have Utah news, Utah hockey news at some point in the show. But where we're gonna start hour number 2 is let's go to Jamal Murray because boy, it's a bad look for him. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. in the Rose City. Thank you for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours. 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, or youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan, twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
Jamal Murray spoke to the media yesterday for the first time since he got $100,000 lighter in his pocketbook for throwing a towel, then a heat pack, and then giving the money sign to the officials. That's a trio right there of elements to get you fined. Now, you said that Rudy Gobert got fined $100,000 just for the money sign,
Just for the
right?
money sign, yeah. So you want to talk about the inconsistencies that were happening here. And again, I believe Mark Davis was the ref in the pool report for the Nuggets game where he threw this. And post-game, the pool report, he said he wouldn't have tossed him. Had he saw it, he would have just given him a technical, which I feel like that 15-minute, 20-minute period between the end of the game and when the pool report was done, he probably had a phone call with the NBA about what he was going to say there.
Yeah.
Because that gave them all the room and the leverage and available to rule how they wanted to. Because there is just Tim Legler went on ESPN before the ruling was like, he is absolutely going to and should be suspended.
There also, we talked about this in the wake of it, there isn't a rule about a player throwing something onto the court because
David Stern would have 100% suspended him.
nobody has been dumb enough to do
Yes,
that.
and that's my point. Like, that would have been the ruling.
If you throw something into the stands, you get Pat Bev, guy just got 4 games. You got 4 games from the basketball throw at a fan. If a fan throws something onto the floor,
They get 86th.
and they
Might get barred for life.
barred for life from NBA arenas. But a player throwing something onto the court, we haven't seen it. The closest thing we've probably seen is Jason Kidd spilling his drink on the court to get a free timeout.
And that didn't work out for him.
He got teed up. He got teed up. But when Jamal Murray went to face the music about this, I think he handled it almost as poorly as you can.
It is what it is, and I take everything full responsibility, so on to the next.
Was it just your frustration boiled over? Is that what happened?
Yeah, on to the next. I mean, there's not much, 2 days ago, not much for me to say about it right now.
Were there any conversations that you had with people or anything just to kind of like apologize or whatever, maybe take responsibility?
Do you have any basketball questions? No.
I say almost as poorly as you can handle it because he didn't yell and he said, I take full responsibility. So at least he said that.
He said it. Clearly didn't mean it.
No, he didn't. And he said, it's been 2 days. There's not much more for me to say. Well, yeah, there's everything for you to say.
Because you hadn't said anything until then.
Because you didn't take the podium after the game.
Nope. Like a child.
You weren't available to the media anytime except for right then and there. So to sit there and be like, oh, I'm surprised. No basketball questions? No, man.
No, this is the first time you've addressed the media following this because you didn't do the responsible thing as the secondary face of the franchise after getting your teeth kicked in, acting like a 5-year-old child, and address the media.
But even if I will give him a pass for not going to the podium, I think he should have. But I'll give him a pass.
I don't.
But when you do have the opportunity after 2 days where
guess what's going to happen?
You have had plenty of time to think this over. You sure as hell have been talked to by Nuggets PR, your agent, your
league.
PR team, the NBA, to how you are going to frame this and address this. Doing the whole, but it's been 2 days, there's nothing more to say. Yeah, there is, man. Like, why?
Look, lie to me. Lie to me and be more contrite, even if you don't believe it at all.
Because you have to expect
so stupid.
that the questions are going to be coming. Were you trying to hit Mark Davis, the official, standing on the baseline with the towel first and then the heating pack? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
And
also, were you surprised that you weren't suspended?
You do stupid stuff, you're going to have to face the music for it. And that's where it came off to me with Jamal Murray as this is a guy who doesn't want to take responsibility. He's saying, I take full responsibility
but
for it.
doesn't want the things that actually come with taking responsibility.
Because that is something that we have not seen. There hasn't been precedent set
Jamal
for
Murray,
this.
not only that, with the exception of this incident, is a pro's pro.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they were saying about him in high school.
Yes, that's why this is so weird. It's like, this is Patrick Beverly. This is Devin Booker.
Green.
This is Draymond Green. Like, not only the incident, but refusing to go to the media afterwards and facing the music, facing the questions. Part of everybody's like, oh, he doesn't have to do that. Like, where does it say? It's actually in the CBA.
Yeah, you do have to talk to the
You
media.
do have to talk to the media. For everybody says, he doesn't have to. Yes, he does. The media is what keeps the game going.
Yeah.
The stories, everything that goes along with it. That's why we're talking about it right now. This is what drives the game. It matters. I'm not trying to say you and I are better than anybody, but it's collectively bargained.
Yeah, it is an actual rule. But
get out there and do your damn job.
It's not one of the whatever he was going to say, he knows that it would be parsed out a million different ways. So he was just, I'm not going to say anything at all.
Which is dumb.
And it doesn't help his cause. It doesn't help his cause at all. And now, just like all of those other guys that you mentioned, those guys are under the microscope for every move that they make.
And Jamal also didn't say, he said, I take full responsibility. He didn't say I was wrong.
Yeah. And but that's
the
thing
thing that's like, I don't think he believes he was wrong.
Would you have gotten more out of and thought differently of the situation and his actions if he was like, look, I just got caught up in the moment.
Yes.
Like I was extremely frustrated with the way that the game had gone for us to that point.
I acted out of character. I did something stupid, and I regret it.
And
I would have been like, look, it was dumb, but it is what it is.
And it will never happen again. And
there's no precedent for it. There's no him being in a hole historically. Like,
I didn't mean
everybody would have given him a pass.
I didn't want anybody to get hurt. I understand that somebody could have gotten hurt, and I'm happy that nobody did. And look, my bad. I take responsibility. One thing I'd really want to do now is move on. And see if we can move on to the next one. And to sit there and say that, well, he couldn't have thought that thing out. The dude is very articulate.
Jamal's
He's a
not
very
dumb.
smart young man.
He may have gone to Kentucky, but he's not dumb.
And he has so many people around him over 2 days who are telling him, like, buddy, that ain't it, boss. I was
Denver PR
pretty
either
surprised.
did a piss poor job or he blew them off.
Is it possible?
And I think he did, and I think that says more. I think that does say more about him now.
Yeah,
like it truly does. Like it sticks with me. I'm sitting there going, buddy, if game 3 goes sideways on him, or game 2 goes sideways on him, that was game 2. Game 3 goes sideways on him in Minnesota. What's going to happen?
Is it possible that he was told just do this and it'll go away quicker?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He either got piss poor advice or he shoved aside the good advice that he got.
Yeah,
because I feel like this is straight out of the PR handbook from the 2 classes I took, where it's just like, just ignore it and it'll go away. Like, if you want to deal with bad press, it'll just keep coming up and coming up. So instead of apologizing and owning
deflect.
That's
PR 101.
But that is also
that's lazy
not
PR.
true anymore.
Yeah, it's also lazy PR.
It's not true. Like, the news cycle, it does turn over time and time again.
People don't forget.
But we also live in a time now where every single one of those clips is readily available to everybody, and it keeps coming back up. So this is not the way to do it. I mean, he truly did. He pulled the Bill Belichick, we're on to Cincinnati. Yeah. That is still a thing that follows Bill Belichick, is we're on to Cincinnati.
Anytime anybody else deflects about anything, what do they say? We're on to Cincinnati.
We're on to Cincinnati. And it will not go away for him as easily. And this is the thing about the microscope that he's going to be under, is now every single person will look at it, and every move that he makes, it ain't going to be good. Because
and if he does something negative, it's like, oh, this is when it started.
I don't think
he didn't know how to handle adversity.
I don't think this, I don't mean this in a negative way at all, because I actually appreciate the brand and style that both of them play. But Jokic and Murray, they're needlers during a game.
Oh, God, yes.
They are guys that they poke,
instigate,
they pull,
poke and taunt.
They do the arm hook and yank a ton, and it's gamesmanship. It's part 100%. Of the game. Every single one of those now is going to be right in on them.
Yep.
Right in on them. And any of the officiating stuff that they're complaining about now is just going to be
the microscope's there.
We're going to watch every single one.
Because if you don't think the other refs are aware of this and how he's been acting, it's going to draw their ire.
Yeah. But Mark Davis, that's 2 bad games in a row.
He's had more than that.
And the Philly series, he was at the center of a couple of big ones too.
Yeah, he was I believe he was the one that didn't call the foul when Tyrese Maxey got shank, stab on the inbounds.
Yeah, that's brutal, dude.
Yeah, tough.
That's gnarly. All right, 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at VancouverFord.com. All right. Something out of the world of college football yesterday that this could be really the end of a program that has had a great run the last handful of years. Danny Dusty on the Fan. Autotown GMC presents the 10th
There you go. 10.
annual Fan Golf Classic. It will be July 11th. That's a Thursday. We got morning and afternoon rounds. Go to 1080thefan.com and get your foursomes signed up. Spots are filling up really fast. We got a lot of the P1s have already texted in, tweeted, all about their foursomes already locked and loaded. Get your group together. It's going to be an awesome day. Food, beverages, and we have things set up all over the course at Langdon Farms. It's always a great event. We have a phenomenal time out there. You got the Michelob Ultra driving range. All the shows are going to be out there. And as part of all of our shows being live on Thursday from Langdon Farms, we'll be doing the rotation at that par 3 6th hole, the little the mound hole there, clown hole. It's going to be sponsored by Doers, and we're going to be out there helping you, give you the read, show you the way, give you an extra shot. It's going to be an awesome time. So go sign up at 1080thefan.com now for the 10th annual Fan Golf Classic. Autotown GMC presents out at Langdon Farms Golf Club. Boise State's been a phenomenal football program for over 2 decades now. Chris Peterson, well, actually, Hawkins started it. It's the Big 12. Then he went to Colorado. But after Dan Hawkins, Chris Peterson took that program over and did an amazing job with it. They've had a lot of turnover at the coaching, head coaching spot since then, whether it's Brian Harsin or Andy Avalos. Well, now their new head coach, who's there, I think he took over last year at the end of the year for Avalos, got quite the stand on NIL. And this was, Spencer Danielson said, if you're looking for the easy way, you're looking for a handout, don't come to Boise State. His players will not be allowed to take NIL money during their first year in the program. He wants his players to work and to earn it, according to Ron Counts of the Broncos beat. That's a take in this world of college football. And
they're zigging when everybody's zagging, and then there's driving into a wall.
I don't disagree with his idea about, look, guys shouldn't be getting a bunch of money before they even come in to the world of college football, because how many recruits do we see that don't pan out across all of college football at every level? It happens all the time. A guy comes in, you think he's going to be the gem of your class, and he's just not what you think he is. There's other guys that come in that you have pretty low expectations for, and they surprise you, and they shine at your program. But in this world of college football that we're in right now, NIL is going to be something that freshmen are going to want as they choose your program. And look, the Mountain West is different than, the Power Four that we have.
The money's obviously very different, but also when the money is a problem at that level already at your school, you are differentiating. Like if you're a guy who's not going to be a Power Four guy, fine. There's still plenty of, number one, good talent that slips through the cracks, and number two, guys that make sense for your level.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to get those guys. And Boise State has a history of getting those guys. Whether you go back for 25 years, you are neutering yourself by doing this.
It doesn't help your cause because of the fact that when it comes down to it, if a recruit, and I've long said this, like, the money isn't what solely lands you a recruit. It can get your foot in the door,
or it can land a deal.
It can close and be the separator. That is, to me, I think in college football, it is still about relationships and talent, because we're looking at a landscape where everybody has money. Even the people that we say don't have money,
they still have money.
They still have money for NIL. And that is where Boise State is different than all the other, group of 6 conferences now, not group of 5, because we have Power 4 and group of 6. But now that you have the Boise State is one of the programs in that group of 6 that actually has some cash to go with it. And they are an established program who, look, they'll land a 4-star every now and then at Boise State because of the attractiveness of the program and the sustainability that they've had over several years. But to say these freshmen can't take it, that's going to lose them a lot of these recruiting battles, because guess what? They'll go and find somewhere that will allow freshmen to have NIL. And when you have programs that you're competing with, like now in the hybrid model, Oregon State and Washington State, San Diego State, UNLV, which are going to be more than okay with paying freshmen some NIL money, that's going to hinder Boise State's recruiting.
Yeah, no, you take a look at this, and whether or not they're playing with the big boys or not, I don't understand how the people you're trying to get introduced to your program and bring up and build with, you wouldn't want to get them in and reward them right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to reward the guys that stay the longest.
Yeah.
That mean the most to you.
And the guy, look,
you can still do that.
Boise State is still a find a gem,
develop
them.
Yes.
And that is they find that lump of coal and they squeeze it till it turns into a diamond.
And
That's
had
what they've done.
plenty of those guys.
Yeah, and they're going to find a ton of guys. And this isn't like the death of the Boise State program, but once you get to
But
a
it knocks
point,
you down a pecking order. It
there-
absolutely does.
and there will be a recruit that is like, I want to come to Boise State.
But
Grease the skids a little
Yeah.
bit. And they're gonna lose out on that kid and that opportunity. And that sucks for that program.
because
But
maybe there's a spot that it's not the perfect fit. Maybe say Boise State is the perfect fit.
Yeah.
But financially, that kid's not doing well, even with the scholarship, and they do need a little bit of help.
yep.
And you're going to say no?
Mm.
Are you dumb?
Yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Because the reality is, as much as the money thing at the
not
top
good.
end is different, you got kids rolling up with iced out chains, and everyone's got a Hellcat.
Yeah.
There are kids who legitimately need the money.
Yeah.
Like the vast majority of guys that aren't getting the big money deals, the money is just not about going to the school and getting the scholarship. It's also about just like living normally.
Yeah.
Because remember in the past, what was the school that got wrapped up in giving food away from the chow hall?
I don't
There was
know.
a school that got
I don't know that one.
they meant it as it was a minor infraction, but they weren't charging the kids
Yeah.
on the football team for going to the chow hall because they wanted their kids to be able to eat.
Yeah. Oh no.
Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell a kid no? You're not going to throw him some NIL money so the kid has money to like just live comfortably?
Yeah. And look,
That's just so dumb to me.
this might be a little bit of, he says, as a freshman, you're not getting that money. You remember who transferred there? From USC?
Yeah.
Malachi Nelson, who's
Yeah,
not
no.
a freshman,
No.
but he's getting some money first year in the program.
Yeah.
And look, Boise State is going to be good. Like, that is, when you look at coming out of spring ball, what most of the pundits are saying is going to be the non-Power 5 representative in the first college football playoff of 12 teams. It's Boise State.
Yeah, when you bring in the number one recruit or quarterback from a class, regardless of whether or not why he left USC, I mean, yeah, you've got some high end talent there.
What I wonder is how you would stop someone. So, like, I get that Boise State and your head football coach can say, hey, we're not going to guarantee you NIL money coming in. But if a player was to, say, get reached out to by a clothing company, or they got reached out to by an energy drink company
local
or a
business,
supplement,
like even a local
does
business.
he doesn't get to say no. He doesn't have that power.
No.
So I don't even know why he would bring this up and say this. Because like, if you watch the full clip, he's frustrated because teams tried to come in and
Yeah.
poach his guys, just like Saban tried to do with Mitchell, where Saban said he was our number one guy in the portal. He never went in. People tried to do that with their wide receiver. What is it? Ashton Genty?
He's a running back. I think is he a running back?
One of their top players. Teams tried to go and get him, and he was all fired up about it. And so the whole thing was, we'll keep our NIL to give to these kids. But how can you stop a kid if they go out and get it on their own?
Well, I think this is where I think Spencer Danielson is playing chess when the other people are playing checkers. Is that he's saying this now? He knows he's going to catch heat for it, but they're going to be really damn good.
Mhm.
They are. they're going to be good this year.
And then go see.
And then it'll be part of his shtick. And look, once you have that good year, Boise State can be a portal giant,
Mhm.
right? Because the landscape of college football is shifting dramatically.
It can be a rehab tour place that
the Ross Dellinger article today.
Yeah.
We may see college football go down to 85. The roster limit be 85.
Not scholarship players, the roster. That's a big move.
Every single player would be a scholarship player at 85. Like that, and if that happens, all of a sudden
You gotta make a
see
lot of choices.
Boise State starts cleaning up in the portal where they're not freshmen.
Nope.
They can get that NIL money. It'll be
It's interesting. We're going to do a little pivot here as we have some breaking news. Our worst day on the web will be the Phoenix Suns have decided to make a change at their head coaching position. Does that have any outlying factors of what may happen or not here in Portland? But first, here's Big Will Betts with the Sports Center update.
Now. Day on the Web with Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Well, that sucks.
Quick little hot route on the worst day on the web as we're going to break. Breaking news. As the Phoenix Suns have decided to move on from head coach Frank Vogel, and they will have their third coach in 3 years following Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, and whoever could replace Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel, in his 1 year, 49 wins. Clearly, it was the coach's fault.
Yeah, it couldn't have been anything else.
Clearly, the coach's fault. Definitely not ownership or saddling a defensive coach with a roster that didn't make sense.
You know
or
what?
A $50 million player that's not worth $50 million.
I will say it was the coach's fault, but it's also the fault of ownership who hired a coach that is not a coach that fits the roster that they hired him to coach.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
I mean,
for Phoenix, it does make sense because there's actually a little bit of awareness there that, yeah, we screwed this up. And this is going to be looked at as Frank Vogel couldn't get it done with the Phoenix Suns roster.
As
with
opposed to Ishbia
KD, Book, and Bradley Beal, Yusuf Nurkic and company. But the reality of it is they tried to fit a square peg into a round hole, and it didn't work for him at all. Like, this was... what it sucks for is Frank Vogel, who went in there and thought he was going to have a leash to work some stuff out, and boop, he gone. And that's tough, man. We saw the writing on the wall right when they got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm actually surprised it took this long. But they must have a direction that they know they're going in.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this. So you have the NBA draft lottery on Sunday, and you have the combine starting on Monday, which means transactions and stuff are going to start happening behind the scenes. They're not actually going to take place, but you have to understand this is the transaction-making window between now and the draft. Once the lottery's set and everybody knows the slotting order and what the values of picks are going to be, even if the draft boards are all over the place, everybody's going to come together at the combine, and this is when the formative talks are going to take place. And if you don't know who the hell your coach is, and you're a team that the Suns, who they are capped out, they are assetless, they have nothing to work with.
Third highest payroll in the NBA.
They went out there in a press conference and said that there's probably 26 other teams in the NBA that wishes they could trade places with them. There isn't a single team that wishes they could trade places with them.
Really?
No. Nobody wants to trade places with them. They have no way to get better, and they are nowhere near a title team. Bradley Beal is the biggest anchor in the NBA. He is $50 million of dead weight
contract.
I don't think they can move it in any way.
Yeah.
In any way. So whatever coach comes in there, you better be part magician.
Or force Bradley Beal to medically retire.
And then have him unretire and then have the insurance pay for it. Oh, sorry, Brandon. That's still... but this is an opening now, and we alluded to this yesterday to kind of see where things were going. The report from Chris Mannix yesterday about Chauncey Billups and people monitoring the situation here. This is the job that behind the scenes I have heard that would be looking at Chauncey Billups. Adrian Wojnarowski has mentioned Mike Budenholzer as a potential for that job. I just want to highlight real quickly.
Yeah.
Adrian Wojnarowski and most of ESPN represented, not run by, same thing, by CAA, Creative Artists Agency. Mike Budenholzer is a CAA client. So if you want to.
Well, Budenholzer was also a finalist for the Nets job.
Great coach. I'm not saying that. But also, Budenholzer's name being thrown out there, not a surprise considering who his representation is.
They need an offensive-minded coach there.
Well, and Bud, not a great... He is in the sense of what he will do to maximize guys. And he's a great tactician. But the thing that he doesn't do, and this is what got him killed in Milwaukee, was not making adjustments.
100%.
He has what he's going to do, and this is how he's going to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. He doesn't. It's not that he makes none. It's that he's unwilling to budge. You're seeing it with Rick Carlisle as well with the Pacers. He'll make adjustments, but there's certain things he just won't budge on.
Wasn't that kind of what Kevin Durant almost wants in a Kevin Durant team is, hey, let me figure it out, just like Bud won the championship with Giannis. Let Giannis figure it out.
They played spread and they played drop coverage. They said, we are going to let teams shoot from three above the break. We are not going to let teams shoot from the corners on three. And then we are going to play drop and protect the rim. And the variance in the playoffs, can bite them. And Bud got unfairly fired after losing to Miami with Chris Middleton on one leg and Giannis not playing.
But it was also because Giannis, too.
He wanted, because Bud, great coach, like Nick Nurse, great coach, can wear on guys. And that's just...
Terry Stotts?
I mean...
Players coach.
Doesn't wear on anybody. Offensive mind.
Offensive mind.
Last I heard, old Terry Bear's doing just fine collecting checks, hanging out in Florida.
And he'd probably be like, I don't want Nurk again.
Or have to deal with freaking KD. Yeah. I think the part of the reason was he went to Milwaukee, he's like, Giannis is pretty low maintenance.
Yeah. And
then he got Dame, and he was like, great.
Hell yeah. And then Adrian Griffin's like, I need power.
Yeah. And then...
so, look, Chauncey's name's going to come up in this.
I would not be... Look, I'm not saying he's going to get the job. I am just saying that Matt Ishbia is being advised by Isaiah Thomas, who played for what franchise?
God. The Detroit Pistons.
Where is Chauncey Billups renowned for?
Detroit.
Okay.
This is so bad. And and Ishbia, a Michigan guy.
Again.
He loved him some Chauncey Billups.
I'm just drawing the strings about what is being talked about behind the scenes. The other opening that could happen is I don't think they'll do it. Tom Gores, the owner of the Pistons, I don't think he's willing to eat the money unless Monty Williams just says, I didn't want to do this anyways, and they come to a buyout that makes sense. But there's been noise about Monty Williams possibly asking out in Detroit or getting let go in Detroit and coming to an amenable solution there. And that's another job that if it were to come open, Chauncey Billups' name would rise to the top very quickly.
How would Blazer fans feel about Chauncey Billups leaving Portland and getting the Phoenix Suns job?
A lot like they did about you trading Yusuf Nurkic for DeAndre Ayton.
I honestly, I would love to know how they would feel about Chauncey being like, deuces, I'm going to go down to Phoenix. And then, look, for everybody that wants Chauncey Billups fired here, you're not going to win with the roster that they had. Like, I still don't understand what fans' expectations were from Chauncey Billups. Like, you want adjustments in game? What could the Blazers have countered with over the last 2 years? Like, that is honestly my question, is like, what would you want him to counter with?
Yeah.
Because what he was trying to do is what any coach with a young core that they're trying to grow and develop is you find, whether it's 5, some teams are like 2. With this Blazers team, it might have been like one thing that we do well, and we are going to try to do that very well. Like, that is how you grow and develop talent.
Piece by
is
piece.
You narrow it down. You narrow that scope down, and you say, this is how we grow. I don't know, and I've long said this. I don't know if Chauncey Billups is a good coach, but I don't know he's a bad coach either, because of the roster that he was given here in Portland. What I do know and what we did see is that guys did grow from game 1 to game 82, even though they got kicked in the nuts day in and day out. We did see players grow and develop, and they always played hard for him.
And I'm telling you this,
the
people on Twitter, the people on the text line, the people on Reddit, Chauncey Billups is not getting another coaching job anywhere else. You are missing brain cells because I am telling you right now, the level of respect that he has in the league, he is 100% getting another job. Now, outside of those 2 head coaching jobs, it's an assistant. But those 2, I've talked to people in LA, they don't think it's going to be Chauncey in LA. Weirdly enough, JJ Redick's name is coming up more and more and more.
He didn't get the
Hornets job. Charles Lee, who was one of the young assistants.
He's got a backwards hat, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
he can't get that job.
Can't do it. But I'd love to hear 503-864-6326, Vancouver Ford text line on that one, or the YouTube chat or the Twitch.tv chat.
But I'm just telling you, this isn't me being biased toward Chauncey or me carrying the water for Chauncey. I'm telling you what Chauncey's relationships are in the league. He is beloved. Walk down a tunnel with him after a game and watch person after person after person after person stop him in the hall to talk.
I love this text. They can't shoot. Just tell them shoot better.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. When you're talking about relationships,
be better.
We talk about like the Team USA stuff being so impactful as far as like forming free agents and trades and super teams and stuff like that. Go look at the 2010 Team USA. Guess who was on that team?
LeBron James.
Chauncey Billups and Kevin Durant.
Well, LeBron James was too.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. Okay.
So there's a level of respect and admiration and that camaraderie that comes with playing with those teams. Just there. I'm not saying Chauncey is the front runner to land in Phoenix. I'm saying that it is out there and more than a little noisy.
Yeah.
That there would be interest in Chauncey going to Phoenix.
This text, Chauncey's a better coach with developed teams, not a rebuilding coach. And he didn't take this job as a rebuilding coach.
No, he took this team hopefully to trade CJ and then get bigger and play with Dame.
But
that's what they wanted to do.
And with that, I still don't know if Chauncey is. To that texture's point, we don't know if he is with a developed team.
I think he's gotten better.
But there are teams that are going to sit there and take a look at it and be like, we're going to give a damn roll of the dice here and give him that opportunity.
Well, you do that, and then you go surround him with X's and O's tactical coaches.
Yeah.
Because on the relationship stuff, man, like I'll tell you flat out, I'll give Chauncey an A grade. I'm not kidding. That's the way that he is with players and the respect that he gets from players is. No one comes close. No one comes close.
Greg Popovich.
It's a different thing because
I mean it is.
It's a different kind of respect.
Yeah.
It's the former player respect. It's the same thing with Jason Kidd, and Kidd is a better player, but Chauncey still has I don't know why, man.
Well, it's because he's been through it. He understands what they're going through when
on every
times
level
are good, bad, on the court, off the court, all that
top
stuff.
draft pick that faltered, that took a little while, bounced around, had to figure it out, then was a champion, then was a role player, finals MVP. Like when he says like I've done it all, he's not BSing.
Yeah.
So like for everybody, look, everybody's like, oh, you just want to be friends with Chauncey or whatever it is. It's like, no, I'm just telling you what I've seen over 3 years, man. That's just the reality of it. Are there coaching deficiencies? Absolutely. I just haven't cared to rail against them because they haven't had the talent to back it up.
No.
It's not worth it.
The whole adjustments thing is something that I've never understood, because if you want him to adjust, what was he supposed to adjust to? Look.
Like year one playing Nurk above the free throw line, like being with an aggressive defense, I said it then. Don't do this. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is not going to work. And eventually they got away from it. But yeah, and using Cove originally as like a point of attack defender, and it was like, it's not really going to work. He's a help side guy. Those kind of things. But once they hit the reset button, I think he's been entirely fine. Was he great? Or has he been great? No, but I don't think for a developing team, he's been bad.
Yeah.
Well, at least on the relationship stuff and helping empower guys.
Sure.
So that's the big thing for me. So that's, if you're watching to see if Chauncey's going to leave, that's the way I would probably go.
All right.
It's one of those two, either Phoenix or if Detroit makes the move, Detroit.
And at that point, I hope Blazers just go and they find a very bright X's and O's guy. Young.
Yes.
I want someone young.
Or a very, very experienced coach.
Yeah, or an old curmudgeon.
Well, not even old, but just
bring back Terry Stotts.
Not even like that.
Bring back Terry.
I'm talking Dave Yeager, Kenny Atkinson, Vogel, like one of those, like, who and what they are, and they're kind of in their primes.
In a big man coach like
Vogel?
Frank Vogel,
who wanted to work with DA but didn't get the opportunity.
Trade him. Why'd they fire him? We just trade coaches. That's happened before.
It has happened. Doc got traded to the Clippers.
Trade him.
Huh?
They're going to rehire Frank Vogel, and the Blazers trade Chauncey to Phoenix for Frank Vogel and a second-round pick in 2037.
That's far enough out for me. I can go with that. Okay. So, all right, coming up next. Look, man, these hockey names are getting too far out of control. We need to rein these in. Come up here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. He's got himself a soccer team. Now he's got himself an NHL team, and he's got to name it. And you're not going to bring the Coyote name to Utah.
No.
You're gonna entirely rebrand it. And you've got some good stuff to work with.
You wouldn't want to bring the Coyotes
No,
name
it's
with you.
dingy. Like Coyotes, it's dingy. You don't want to go down that path.
Not a lot of history.
They've got some good stuff to work with. They maybe have too many to work with. He hopped on and sent out a survey that was done by his group, which owns all of the sports teams and venues. And the choices that were listed, and there's a lot here. The team name will start with Utah, much like the Utah Jazz. It will be the Utah whatever, and could be the Frost, Ice, Powder, Mountaineers.
Powder.
Yeah, the powder.
You're getting a lot of blow jokes there, buddy.
Which I think is great, but also the imagery.
Why are the hockey free agents going to Utah?
A guy just got kicked out of the league for the booger sugar.
God, no better about your testing cycles. Mountaineers.
No, he posted it on his Instagram story.
Mountaineers. Yeah, the Mountaineers.
Which good name, but that's West Virginia's.
No, I hate it because it's those slack-jawed rednecks from Eastern Oregon. They're the Mountaineers.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
The Eastern
right,
Oregon
right,
Mountaineers. Right. Yeah.
The Freeze, which if you go with kind of Utah Freeze, actually, I'm okay with
Utah
that.
Freeze doesn't sound
It
bad.
rolls off your tongue
but
pretty well.
it's also like
maybe a little too on the nose.
You're doing the Incredibles. It's Mr. Freeze, right?
Yeah. Well, no,
and the Atlanta
Batman.
Braves. What?
Mr. Freeze. Batman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger too. There have been a lot.
You're
There've
thinking,
been
you're
3.
thinking Frozone.
Oh, that's him.
Incredibles.
Frozone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's my super suit?
Yeah, that guy.
Yep. Mammoth. I think we need to have more Mammoth.
Okay.
That's a great mascot.
But I see what they're doing here.
Tusks.
Every single one except for Mountaineers so far has done what the Utah Jazz do. There are very few teams in professional sports that do not have an S at the end.
Yes.
It is Wild,
Singular. Yeah.
Magic, Heat,
Jazz.
And so they want to, like, if you want to stick with that.
Non-pluralization.
No. Stupid.
I actually like it because there's stuff you can do with it. Black Diamonds, which I like the little ode to the ski resorts.
But these are hockey players, not skiers.
I like that they're reaching out. The Blast, Utah Blast.
No. High school me is gonna make so many jokes about that, and they don't need that. They don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want that smoke.
Weirdly enough, Super Soaker is not on here.
Keep going.
Caribou?
Dumb.
Blizzard?
No.
Swarm?
Even more dumb.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, Swarm is stupid. The Utah Swarm? That's so dumb. That's a lacrosse team name.
That's fair. It is. It actually is a lacrosse team name.
Okay.
Hive?
And not good. I don't know why they...
Hive Mind? I like the Hive Mind.
They have like the Salt Lake City Buzz, the baseball team. They're very proud of their bees in Utah.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was a big bee area. Is it the bee state?
It's a big bee state.
All right.
Outlaws.
Like it. We need more outlaws.
Yeti.
That's it.
That's the winner for me.
Yeah.
Squall, which is kind of interesting because there's no water around.
Salt
lakes.
Lake.
But I mean lake. But you don't get squalls in the lake. Fury? Utah Fury? It sounds good. Utah Fury sounds like an MMA fighter.
That also sounds like a lacrosse team name.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Or arena football.
Glaciers?
You could have Tyson run around.
Which glaciers, I guess if you're talking about the glaciers that came through the valley and flattened it a couple of million years ago.
Makes sense.
That's fine. Utah Canyons?
Actually, don't mind that one. That's like in the vein of like the Lakers.
Also,
the Minneapolis Lakers
yeah,
back
Canyons
in the day.
also, I don't know. No, I can't say that one. Venom? Utah Venom?
No,
that's
again,
lacrosse team.
Lacrosse and arena football.
And
what
then,
are we doing
And
here?
then HC, which is hockey club.
Don't. I will not
this is
have
not
it.
This is not soccer.
Nope. No. Hard no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is Yeti. I think they have 20 names here. It's Yeti. The Utah Yeti.
Great mascot.
Your logo would be elite.
Mm-hmm.
You could have great colors to go along with it. It would be... they should just...
The colors have to be like...
Why are they doing
You
this?
kind of have to use the purple, right? The Utah Jazz purple?
Yes.
Like the deep purple
Yeah.
Like that. Make that your prominent color.
Like remember the Cal Malone, when they had like the mountain on, it was purple,
Yes,
light
that purple,
blue,
yes.
white, and black.
Mhm.
Do that.
Call on that.
Have all of those colors. Throw it out there. Be the Yeti. It'll be awesome.
You know, I had somebody tell me that the Jazz are getting rid of their highlighter color.
Ooh.
Because the reason they went with that
It
highlighter
was
color,
ugly.
it was hideous. But Ryan Smith wanted a color of a logo that he could put on a black polo. And the white was, the purple didn't stand out enough, and the white kind of looked weird. So they went with that yellow to make it
For a black polo.
to secondary color to put on a black polo.
Okay.
Look, tell me that doesn't sound like owner brain.
Backwards hat owner brain.
Yes.
I'm harnessing my inner Colin Cowherd here. That's backwards hat owner brain right there.
It's such a dumb thing, but the person I heard it from, I trust very much so, and it's so stupid that it's 100% true.
Look, I mean, if your gauge and your marker is a black polo, it would look good.
That highlighter yellow
Looks
really
good.
pops
It
the logo.
It pops.
The white just looks kind of meh. But
that's terrible.
But they're going to phase it out because it looks so terrible and everybody hated it so much.
Yeah, and good on them for that.
And
Let's
the
go
lesson
Yeti.
that comes from that is go with dope colorways, which the purple, blue, white for a Yeti, good.
You can do it.
Good.
You can do it, and they can do like the Yeti yell at the beginning of every game.
What does Yeti sound like?
I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to do it. I haven't tried it. I haven't workshopped this.
That's
something like that.
Chewbacca.
Was that good?
No, it's
That's
yeah, well, I mean,
Chewbacca.
I don't know that reference.
also,
but it's
Chewbacca's
close enough.
It's a close enough relative.
Yeah.
Chewbacca's he's like summer Yeti.
Summer Yeti.
Yeah.
He's Swamp Yeti. He's in that
Yeah.
island or planet is a swamp.
Was it a swamp? It looked pretty tropical to me.
I have no idea.
Yoda's
what
from
you
a
guys are
swamp.
Yoda is from a swamp. Maybe
See?
I'm getting them confused.
There you go.
I don't know.
See, you have your high pitched one versus the summer, which is
Sure. Yeah, because you're in the mountains. Like if you go too deep, too much bass, it's going to cause an avalanche.
Right.
You got to go high.
yeah, you gotta go high pitch.
Yeah. Sure.
Or because you want to start avalanches and kill people.
Damn.
I'm just saying.
What does the Yeti sound like in the Mummy movie?
Oh,
Mummy 3, there's a Yeti.
yeah, there's a couple of them.
Can't
Yeah, I
tell
do
ya.
watch movies, jerk.
It was on TNT while you were at the gym. Shut
Mummy 3.
No, I'm big Mummy guy.
You went Mummy 3. I
Big
watch
Mummy guy.
movies. I watch film.
That's right.
This is cinema.
I did.
Top 5 movies of all time.
He
Mummy,
defeated the
Mummy
same
3.
mo-
They
Citizen
replaced the
Kane.
son.
He
They replaced the
defeated
son and the wife as cast members, but it's cinema.
He defeated the same mummy twice.
Damn.
That's like the big thing.
P1P Rod, what about the Utah Smiths? I mean,
Joseph is the mascot.
He is Ryan Smith.
He is Ryan Smith. And look, we laugh at it. Ever heard of a team called the Cleveland Browns? Anybody?
Not because they love the color.
Yeah. So,
Are there any other teams named after families professionally?
no.
Do
I
any
don't
of the
think so.
birds fly in families?
I mean, I guess you could go the Anaheim Ducks because they were owned by Disney,
Disney.
and they went with the Mighty Ducks
Yeah.
family.
Still the dumbest rebrand ever.
Yeah, they should have just kept
Kept
the, either
Tampa
that.
Bay Devil Rays and Anaheim Mighty Ducks had absolutely 10 out of 10 perfect branding.
Bingo.
Hopefully, the Utah Yeti go down that path. Don't steer out of it. Steer into the skid.
Yeah, go right into it.
Crazy good branding is crazy. Like you look at that stupid duck mask now, and you look at that logo for the Ducks, and you go, that logo rules.
Yeah, it did rule. These all sound like Mountain Dew flavors.
Yeah, no, the Utah Blast, 100%. That was my thought.
Or Gatorade, like frost color flavors, you know?
Yeah,
Like
Utah Blizzard.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Utah Freeze.
Well, Utah Frost.
Utah
They
Frost.
might
Utah
not be able
Ice.
to do Blizzard. Trademark?
By Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
No.
then if they do, then just go red, white, and blue.
No, it's across marketplaces. It wouldn't. No, there's no trademark infringement there.
There we go. Perfect.
Take it from me, your IP lawyer.
Sure. That's right.
I watch Suits. You're good.
That sounds good enough, right?
Like, you're going to go, like, I don't even know where you go. Yeti is it.
Yeti's the
It's
winner.
Yeti Outlaws.
Don't screw this up,
Final.
Utah. We know you will, but don't.
Yeah, they're opening up to a fan vote, which means Blast is going to get it.
Well, I mean, we did have
Teamy McTeam Face.
what was the mascot? Was it South Carolina? They were going to rename the mascot.
Yeah.
It was Sir Spur to. Oh God, what was it?
Don't.
General.
Don't. It's really close to a dump.
Okay, I won't. Oh yeah, the Bobcats were named after an owner. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. His name was Bob.
Yeah.
It wasn't Bobcat Goldthwait. His name was Bob.
Ooh, dead or alive? Bobcat Gold. Alive.
Alive.
I think he's alive.
Yeah,
He's alive.
He's alive. You'd think super dead because my God, the drugs. But you know.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
That's true.
Who are the players that you most trust in crunch time in NBA basketball as of now? One guy might be skyrocketing up that list, but is there anybody else left you take above him? Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. And we hope you're enjoying the furnace slowly being turned on before tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it starts roasting the bacon.
80 degrees.
Drop
today.
from 90.
Well, 80 degrees today, 86 tomorrow.
Yeah, it was 90. I'm saying it's dropped
We're-
ever so
yeah.
slightly.
I'm here for it all.
85 on mine.
All right.
Looking right now, it says
Okay.
85 for 85 Friday, 85 Saturday, 78 Sunday. Look at that! What a
Nice.
wonderful Mother's Day.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Wonderful.
Where you're going
Mother's
to be
Day.
inside watching the lottery.
From noon to 2.
I'll just check out my Twitter feed, find out what happens.
Or you can go to youtube.com/Danny Meringue.
In what?
For Jack Ramsey's, for the live show.
Oh, you're doing that during the lottery?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what you put on Twitter.
Hey.
It's Mother's
Wow.
Day.
Wow.
Well, what? It's Mother's
Turned on
Day.
and muted in the background on a laptop.
Okay, I'll do it for you, but I promise you I won't be watching it.
That's fair.
but I'll get you the views.
I don't care.
I'll get you the
Just
views.
turn it on.
I'll get you the views because the draft lottery is something that look, we had what was it, 5.1 million people watch the NFL draft,
Mhm.
like throughout the NFL draft.
Yeah.
At least you're finding out like where a player is going and who your team is getting. Draft lottery to me, unless you're like in a large group of people and not on Mother's Day NBA,
Very dumb.
the stupidest thing the NBA
Very
could
dumb.
do. We're just finding out where your team picks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to find out who they're picking.
Yeah. But I mean, unless it was last year, and then it was like, hey, Wemby or no Wemby. That was the answer that you got.
Mhm.
This year, it's like, I mean, we've already seen like 3 or 4 names pop up for number 1 overall pick, which is wild to me. That we're
Once
having
the
that
order
many
gets
guys.
set too, which tomorrow we will dive into NBA lottery stuff.
And we should, because
It'll be this weekend.
we'll go through where the Blazers land, what prospects are probably going to be there
Yes.
in the chaos that could happen in front of them, and how that affects where the Portland Trail Blazers would be. All of that is great. At this point, I just want to know where they're picking.
Yes, and then the big stuff that will come out of next week of probably come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as I start getting intel from people that are at the combine. What
Bum, bum, bum.
what trades are being discussed or what positions people think could be viable for trades during the draft and who's looking at who, and then we'll kind of have not a clear picture, but a clearer picture, because after we get through next week, we're essentially a month out from the NBA draft.
Yeah,
It's going to be
that's
here
great.
quick. And we just as a heads up, as a little forecast, I've got 5 different people lined up to come on between now and the draft to come talk about prospects, whether it be Kristen Peak or the guys from No Ceilings. We're going to have lots and lots and lots of draft coverage.
Let's get it.
So
I'm excited for it.
on the NBA side of things,
Unless the Blazers are like 7th.
which is as far back as they can go.
And I'm not going to be very excited about that. Which, I mean, that would be like, oh.
The Warriors move up to 1. The blessing in disguise there would be the Blazers,
Blazers
getting
get
to
2025. Yeah.
with only the top 1 protection on it.
Yeah. Well, isn't it a top next year's top
next
1?
year's top 1.
This is top 3. 4?
Top 4.
Well, I'd be okay. Let them
So-
get 4. Let them get 4.
So on Sunday, if
think
the
it's
first
4.
card flipped over is not the Warriors, it's top 4. Because it's either 14 or top 4. That's
Okay, perfect.
so you'll know right away
Perfect.
if it's whether or not it's going to be a pick this year or it's going to be a pick next year.
I'll check my Twitter feed, or I'll just walk. Maybe I'll walk over to the computer.
There you go. You'll see me either fist up, fist down.
I have a feeling. I'm just getting this out here. My wife will not have us be inside on a 78-degree Mother's Day, so I won't be anywhere near the computer. But your views, you're going to get my
There you
view.
go. That's
You're going to get my view.
You and everyone else. That's how you do
I'm
it.
going to go and I'm going to
You
like
don't have
it.
to pay attention. Just turn it on.
Yeah, I'm going to go like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip it on,
Perfect.
and then we'll be there
Other things you can like.
in spirit.
Jalen Brunson's playoff performance.
I love him.
He has been the best player in the playoffs this year. I don't think you can argue that.
There's no person I like, and honestly, think of this, because I don't know if in 2 years somebody has changed their standing in the league as much as Jalen Brunson has. Because he went from, think of this, like 4 years ago, he was a 5 years ago, second round pick.
Mhm.
And then he goes to Dallas, performs absolutely incredibly. And there were actually people who were like, would you rather pay Colin Sexton or Jalen Brunson? And at the time, it was like, Sexton's got like the higher ceiling, you
Sure.
know. Brunson, he's
The
like,
lack of size.
you have to have a really good fit. Well, guess what? Going to New York and playing for his father's franchise that his dad works for, it is the perfect fit for him. And he is thriving under Tibbs. He's thriving with his fellow
And Rick
Villanova.
Brunson, his dad, was with the Dallas Mavericks as well.
Yeah.
Before going to New York.
But this is the most perfect fit for him to be in because of his style of play. Like him playing alongside Luka, like everybody can play alongside Luka, but Jalen Brunson doesn't thrive like he does with the way Tibbs plays. The whole identity of the New York Knicks team, and the fact that
Jalen's playing like Luka.
What he's able to do now is incredible. We think of what the last 2 years have been for Jalen Brunson, where now we're looking at him as a bona fide star. And if they win this series, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And even if they give the Boston Celtics even a run for their money, right? And by run for their money, I say 6 games. They don't get gentlemen swept. They get 6 games. Dude's going to be a New York City legend.
Oh, he already
is. Because of the way he's played.
He's already passed Melo. If you go in New York, he has surpassed Melo because he's already been more important to playoff success than Melo.
Yeah, and he got to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Melo did.
He has still been more impactful than Melo.
Yeah.
And it's been funny watching how people talk about Brunson and like, oh, he plays this unselfish brand of basketball, and he's like he's pocket Luka. His usage rate is higher than Luka's. The time that he spends on the ball per possession is more than Luka's. He dribbles the ball per possession more than Luka. He takes more shots than Luka.
But I think the one thing that I love about Jalen Brunson too is that he makes every single player around him better too. On both ends of the floor. Because on the defensive end of the floor,
even as a liability, he still gives effort.
The effort is always there with him. And he's got that junkyard dog in him, right? Like Josh Hart is just like the Mr. Scrappy, right? I still don't understand how he gets all these rebounds. It is that awareness. It's like that Bill Walton awareness where, like, you ever heard Bill Walton talk about rebounding? Like he talks about it like it's science. Right?
Yeah.
When you see the ball come out of somebody's
like
hand,
Dennis Rodman, like
you can see trajectory, and then it's like the Alan from The Hangover. When he's playing cards, he's just like, boom, I'm gonna Rain Man this, and he finds a way to get to where the ball is gonna be at all times. And then at 6'4", unlike Walton, he is more like Dennis Rodman, that he just works his ass off. He was gonna work harder than you are to go and get that ball, but he maximizes everybody and plays to their strengths and gives that his usage rate, the amount that he has the ball in his hand, it is more than Luka, but it's when he gets rid of the ball is the amazing part when I watch Brunson, because he's doing it to make everybody around him better.
And
it's so damn fun to watch.
And the level he's playing at right now, I don't think I'd want anybody else right now in crunch time.
I don't think so either.
Which is a crazy thing to say.
I mean, and you look at in the NBA, it's him. But he is like, who are the guys that you want to have the ball in their hand? He's like Mahomesian with in the fourth quarter. Think of, they've played 8 playoff games. 7 of them have been a one possession game in the final 5 minutes. 7 of the 8 have been a one possession game in the final 5 minutes.
And on that note, I wanted to highlight this because it's absolutely insane. Josh Hart leads everybody in playoff minutes right now at just under 375. The next closest is Jalen Brunson with almost 40 minutes less.
It's crazy.
Josh Hart has only missed less than 15 minutes over 8 games. So he has played every minute of every game with the exception of essentially 2 minutes per game.
Tommy Beer, who NBA dude, he tweeted this out. Per the NBA's tracking data, Josh Hart has traveled 145,541 feet in the playoffs. The next closest, Jalen Brunson, 135,193 feet, and then OG Anunoby, 118,465 feet. Those are your top 3. They're all Knicks. They all play their butts off, and I'm waiting for them to wear down. They're not going to wear down. They might all just get injured.
That's the thing. They're going to break.
Anunoby, and look, Anunoby playing as much as he's played, the wear that he's put on, yeah, it's no wonder why his hamstring went on him.
And also, Anunoby is a guy who's missed games historically.
And
so.
Jalen Brunson, when you play that many minutes, when you travel that distance in such a short amount of time, yeah, it's only a matter of time before your foot gets injured, your leg gets injured. That's the incredible part about what Josh Hart is doing. Josh Hart, since January, has traveled 133.9 miles on a basketball court. 133 miles on a basketball court since January. The fact that he doesn't have nagging injuries right now, the fact he hasn't got injured, you got to knock on wood because the clock is ticking, and that's the whole thing about Tibbs.
Ticking time bomb the bodies.
That's right.
All right, coming up next, after nearly 2 decades of Ernie, Kenny, and Chuck.
Oh, don't say it.
Enjoy Inside the NBA on TNT because this might be the last of it. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Numbers out, and the big streaming partner, Amazon, is going to get the opportunity to be the forebearer for the league, and they are going to spend an inordinate amount of money. Other TV and streaming partners are fighting for the second, third, and fourth pieces of the pie. As it stands right now, NBC is looking to spend $2.5 billion a year.
Righteous bucks, my man.
$2.5 billion. That's for the third biggest package. Think about what that means for the NBA. Okay? That means you're probably looking at a media rights deal of upwards of $7 to $8 billion a year, which comes close to the NFL's.
Really?
9.
9?
Yeah, it was 9.2, I believe, is what the NFL was. But again, we're talking about billion. So
yeah,
and the difference between 8 and 9 is a lot of money.
Yeah, 8 and 9, that is a lot of money. But at the same time, you look at it and you say the inventory. This is why the NBA is appealing.
Because
Inventory,
there's a lot of it.
30 teams, 82 games. You have a lot of room.
And live sports
live programming
is the thing that everybody wants right now. Now, NBC is rumored to be the one that is coming in to grab that third and biggest last piece. That would leave TNT on the outside looking in unless they're willing to raise their offer to $2.8 billion. So there is a bidding war that is taking place. And whether and how this gets sorted out is going to be really interesting because it was long thought. The folks on TNT, i.e. Ernie, Kenny, Charles, Shaq, they are paid a substantial amount of money. They're some of the highest paid people in sports. Why? Because they have one of the highest ratings in sports. They've been doing it a very long time, and everybody who's tried to recreate what they have has failed. They are one of one. Ernie Johnson is TNT through and through. It was long thought, up until probably about, I say, a year ago, that whoever got the rights, if it wasn't TNT, NBA and TNT would just move to whatever new provider there was. Ernie is going to stay at TNT.
And this is the thing, the loyalty that TNT gave Ernie through all of his health issues, whether, it was his first cancer diagnosis, his second, they have been kind of attached at the hip. He's been in one place for a very long time. He lives in Atlanta, doesn't want to leave Atlanta, and I appreciate that loyalty from Ernie. Ernie is one of the greatest. And look, that show can't go on without Ernie. It can't. Like Ernie Johnson, they need Ernie.
Ernie's the best host in sports.
There is nobody that can wrangle the other three chuckleheads like at all. There's
style.
no way, shape, or form.
It's not just wrangling them. It's setting
chemistry.
them up.
It's continuity. He has it, and he can tell them to pipe down. And Charles Barkley doesn't listen to anybody. He listens to Ernie Johnson. That's the craziest part about it, and I love it because he's like the team dad.
Yeah.
Who's in there?
Knock it off, Chuck.
Yeah, and he'll
sorry, Ernie.
He'll put Shaq in his place and doesn't need to with Kenny. But when the bullying on Kenny gets too much,
he'll pull him back. Or when Kenny falls and they do a chalk outline.
It's perfect. And look, I've seen this, and I believe that they could still do inside the NBA even if TNT loses rights. Because if a game ends and I know that they're on, I'll flip over.
Flip it over to TNT.
I'll flip it over there. I know where it is.
It's one way to do it.
I know where it lives. I will miss pregame. I'll miss halftime. But if you give me twice a week, a 2 times a week of that show, just being all-encompassing NBA, I'm in for it. It's gonna suck though if they do have to leave. But I hope, I don't know if there's a way you can farm it out.
Man, that's the thing is, Charles Barkley has said he won't leave Ernie.
No, and Charles doesn't need to.
No.
That's the thing that is great about that show, is that none of them need the money from that show.
Oh, God, no. They're all loaded.
They get paid a king's ransom to do the show.
Those guys are some of the highest paid people in sports on the broadcasting side.
But it is because of
their success.
That is not just the success, but their enjoyment that they get out of it.
So, the flip side of this is if the NBA does come back to NBC, Round Ball Rock will be relicensed.
Yeah, let's go.
So it's but I love Round Ball Rock.
Here,
but I don't want to miss out on Ernie.
if TNT doesn't have the NBA rights, can you imagine unhinged Charles and Shaq? Because they don't care about the partnership right now. And like when they brought Jaren Jackson on, and Chuck asks about Ja Morant, like that is something that only they can do. Because they wouldn't have if that show was on ESPN or if it was on NBC or if it was on Amazon Prime, is anybody else going to ask who has the clout, the credibility, and the personality to be able to ask the question about Ja Morant right now? Because the NBA doesn't want it. Is Adam Silver going to say anything to Charles Barkley about asking Ja Morant questions to Jaren Jackson? Because he started that question with, I know you don't want me to, I know I'm not supposed to ask this, but what was it like with dealing with Ja?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a genuine and a real interaction that they had. And it didn't make Jaren Jackson Jr. look bad. It didn't make Ja Morant look bad. But it was a question that we wouldn't have seen anywhere else. They would have just asked the canned questions about, Triple J, and that was it. They need to have them. They need to have that show. The NBA needs that show.
I think they do too, because the NFL, what they do better than every other league is promote their game. I'd say baseball does it better than the NBA too. I think they've lost a little bit of it without Chris Rose and Millar being together, which was the best. That to me was the best off-day sports show in sports.
And that's a show that people could just go and they could flip on. They weren't doing it for a pre or a post game show.
Nope.
They just knew
every day on MLB Network.
At bat was going to be on,
and it was one of the best sports shows there was. But when you've got this kind of thing going, it would suck to see it go, because the product around the NBA sucks on the national side.
It does.
All they want to do is it wants to be messy. It's about trading somebody. It's about rumors. It's not talking about the game.
Or it's just about the Lakers.
Yes. And it's just so tiresome.
And that's another great part, is that when Shaq goes on his beating his Lakers drum, Charles and Kenny will just tell him to shut up.
Also, he'll because he's a part owner in the Kings, he will beat the Kings drum, which is good.
And they talk about all of the teams, and they will bash everybody equally.
And they make fun of Charles' stupidity with who he played for.
That's right. That's right.
Which is actually making fun of, I don't know, Stephen A. Smith for saying, well, not Miles McBride, who's got traded on to Detroit, the guard. God dang it. He mentioned him in the game. Now I look like an idiot. Detroit young guard that got traded over at the trade deadline. And then Stephen A. Smith said, oh, yeah, no, he looked great last night. And it was like, buddy, he got traded 2 months ago. Which now I'm failing because the who he played for Olympics has got my brain twisted up.
Right now?
Yeah.
It's not Cunningham or Ivy.
No.
Sasser? Marcus?
No.
Malachi Flynn?
No.
Quentin Grimes.
Thank you.
Quentin Grimes.
Yeah.
Boy.
Took me a second to get that one. There you go. My brain's mush right now. But yeah, you may be looking
You got one of them smooth brains.
I
I've
do.
heard about.
You may be looking at that, or that's the kind of situation you're looking at with the who he played for and the stupidity that surrounds basketball coverage in general.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough. But yeah, that's where you sit right now.
That's a lot of cash, though. I mean, for the NBA's TV rights, and they're going on shorter deals, right? So it's not like because the NFL's were 10 years. How long are these deals going to be?
If I remember right, the years haven't been out there publicly, but I want to say it's 7.
7?
Yeah, I think it's 7. I've heard a couple different versions of it, but I'm pretty sure it's 7.
All right.
So, but yeah, that's the way that's shaping up is either the NBA is going to get more money or TNT is going to be out.
Well, if you think Bradley Beal is overpaid at $50 million a year, wait until we have somebody making $100 million a year, because that spike in the salary cap is going to be enormous. Enormous. We're going to have a $100 million player by the end of this deal.
Yes.
Yes. There will be a guy who's making $100 million a year.
Yeah.
Who's the first
playing
one?
in the NBA?
Probably not in the league yet. It's probably 2 years away. Wemby could be that guy. Like if you're talking about production scales and like who should get it, if you're talking about if anybody's going to get it, it is him.
Yeah. Well,
If he's healthy, he has
actually,
the opportunity
well,
to.
he might be the guy who does it because if he goes at the end of his rookie contract, it'll be 4 years, so I'll put him in 2028,
Mhm.
and then you go to a supermax deal, which he's already qualifying for.
Yes.
Once he gets all NBA,
Mhm.
he's going to hit the supermax qualifier, and then at that point, it's just the percentage of the cap,
which
and
is
then
35%.
he probably hits that. He's probably the first guy that's going to qualify to hit that in his deal. Damn.
If it's not 100 million, it's going to be real close. High 80s, low 90s.
So, parents out there,
Basketball.
teach your kids to be 7 feet, very athletic.
Basketball is guaranteed money. Baseball's another good one, too.
Yeah.
Guaranteed money.
You only have to do the hardest thing in all of sports, hit a baseball.
Or throw it.
Or not care about your elbow.
Yeah. Listen, I'd give up my UCL for 20 mil.
I would too. Right now, I'd give up my UCL for half of the Astros pitching staff, which apparently
Doesn't
is
have
just
one.
falling apart.
That happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of falling apart, would you care to check in on the Oakland A's, John J. Fisher?
Oh, yes.
Oh, let's do that. We'll do that and more coming up here next on Danny and Dusty. But first, here's Big Will Betts on the Sports Center Update.
Hey, you're not wrong there.
You went down a John J. Fisher
did.
hole of hate.
I did. I went down a John J. Fisher deep dive yesterday because the U.S. Open Cup is going on in American soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And the Oakland Roots were playing the San Jose Earthquakes in said cup match yesterday down in San Jose. And the fan base ended up breaking out in this chant. And I was sitting there thinking, whoa, that's aggressive. Usually they just save that for A's games. But when you have the Oakland Roots soccer team playing the San Jose Earthquakes soccer team, Oakland doesn't like him. And apparently San Jose, which John J. Fisher also owns, they don't like him too much either. What has John J. Fisher always said about the A's? When he gets a stadium, what is he going to do?
Spend money.
He's going to spend money. Well, my deep dive went into John J. Fisher spending with the San Jose Earthquakes of the Major League Soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, John J. Fisher was complaining about a new stadium for their soccer team. And it sounds familiar. He loves this, right?
It's almost like it's all a scam.
Yeah. Well, guess how old their stadium is?
How old is it? Is it 30 years? 40, 50? No?
No, 9. 9 years old is their stadium, which apparently PayPal Stadium has the largest bar in North America on it. They got a bar that's 2 acres. That's crazy. Yeah, that's part of my deep dive.
Anything's a bar if you want it to be.
It truly is. But since they opened up this new stadium, the San Jose Earthquakes have made the MLS playoffs 3 times. Okay?
So 33% of their existence at the stadium have been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
This year, the Quakes have the 5th lowest payroll in all of the MLS, and they currently are the worst team in the Western Conference of the MLS. Okay? The Quakes have the last year they were middle of the pack in payroll.
There's 29 teams.
Yeah,
those
there are
29 teams, which is weird. Odd number.
Yeah, they're still growing.
Still one
They're
more
still growing.
expansion team.
They lost in the wild card last year with middle of the road payroll. What did John J. Fisher do? Tore it all down, right? Now you go from middle of the pack to the 5th lowest payroll in all of MLS. I went back to when they opened up that new stadium in 2015. I was like, all right, well, how many times have they been in the top half of payrolls in MLS? The answer, no, it's not 0. It's not 0. It's twice. And you know where they were?
14th.
Smack dab in the middle. Both times.
Just barely eked over.
Smack dab in the middle. Both times of that.
And what's the difference in payroll from top to bottom?
It's pretty significant when you get to the top teams. But when you get to from the middle to the back, it really is not. I mean, there is not a big difference at all. Because you have this year you have Inter Miami, which they have Messi and his boys. They are a little bit higher. But this is all to say, he has had a new stadium in San Jose for 9 seasons. And he has not broke the pocketbook. He's not opened it up at all in order to field a winner. Any person that believes that the Oakland A's, when they move to Vegas and they get a new stadium, they all of a sudden are going to become this big spender, it's all a lie. Because history will tell you they have good teams, they tear it apart in Oakland. What he's done with his MLS team, they have good teams, they tear it apart. In the MLS and Major League Baseball, structurally, they're not the same. The financials aren't the same. But the reality of it is...
No, in soccer, you pay... You know how payroll's broken out? It's per week.
Oh, really?
It's wages per week. The top team, Inter Miami, which should not surprise anybody because Messi is paid more than God, is $359,000 a week, their total payroll.
Okay.
The bottom end is Montreal at 102, so more than 3.5 times as much. Portland is at 153, which is bottom 10.
Yep.
Your middle line, rough math, 180.
Okay.
$180,000 a week.
Where are they at?
Let's see.
Because 10th, you said 10th is the Timbers.
10 from bottom 10.
Yeah, bottom 10.
Let's see. We are looking for where the hell are they?
They
San Jose is
I told you they're
Fifth.
fifth from the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're fifth lowest payroll.
and there's $12,000 a week difference between Portland. And Portland is not a team that, like, you think about Portland, as good as they have been, and they've won an MLS title. Their player exemption, like the spending money on like the big guy like Leo Messi. Number one, players don't want to. It's like free agency in the NBA. They don't want to come here. They want to go to LA and Miami and New York, the big cities. But
and they want to play on grass too.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the turf thing here. But they've done this while like running a much smaller market. San Jose is in the Bay market. Like that's supposed to be a draw, and yet much like the Oakland A's, the Giants, they spent San Francisco Giants when they were winning World Series.
Mm-hmm.
They were a top 10 payroll every year but one. Their first World Series. Why? Buster Posey was still on his rookie deal.
There you go. John J. Fisher is going to pull one over on the people of Vegas. Just like
I don't think so. I think Vegas is going to reject it. I think they're going to find a way to push him out of there.
Also, their MLS stadium, it was privately financed because of previous ownership kind of made that push to privately finance, but he put the team on the hook, I think, for like something like 55 years to make sure that they pay back. That's not what John J. Fisher's wanting to do here in Vegas.
No,
it's not at all.
He wants basically $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy. I
absolutely unhinged.
When I saw that
Get
video,
rid of him.
I was sitting there going, good for the people of San Jose. You know, good for the Bay Area fans. Just let him know how upset he is, how upset you are with him, because he is the worst owner in professional sports, and it's not even close. It is not even close. Now, I don't know anything about the Premier League, or no, not the Premier League. I don't even know what they're in. He's a part owner, small minority owner of Celtic in Scotland.
Yeah, which is the top club there.
Yeah, yeah. Are they spending money?
In their league,
In their
yes.
league? Okay,
Proportionally, yes.
Good. But he's a minority owner.
Yeah. He doesn't have any say there. He's probably again. This is the ridiculous part of this. This is owners who have their money tied up in stocks and bonds. That's where he came from, because that Gap money.
Yeah.
That Gap was trading, I want to say, like 8 years ago, was at $50-something a share.
Yeesh.
I think they're down at like $8 a share now.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Who goes to the Gap anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. Guess who runs the Gap, though? His two brothers.
Oh, it's actually back up to $23 a share.
Hey.
But if you go over the 5 year, I'll show this so you can see it, Dusty.
Yeah.
It was at a high over the 5 years was $35 a share. It dropped all the way down to $7.78.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's brutal, dude.
So it's actually made quite the comeback. So maybe he can afford something now.
There is plenty of reason for us not to like John J. Fisher.
Find me a reason to like him.
This is the latest.
So there you go.
Find a reason to like him.
All right, after this, we'll get ready to...
Went to Stanford? No, that doesn't help you?
Not helping.
Okay, sorry.
We'll get ready to hand you off to Isaac Sue, coming around Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan. No Cap Room podcast just got done, just released a few minutes ago. And he said, one name I've heard would have particular support from Suns players, Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups. So if you're looking for your corroboration of what I was talking about when the Vogel news broke, there you go.
No cap.
No cap. Well, this is going to get interesting here over the next handful of days because yesterday...
Expect resolution quickly, too.
When the news happened, it was something had been brewing. Didn't seem imminent. Didn't seem like it was in the close future. But Phoenix has been popping up, and we know Frank Vogel was going to be on the outs after getting swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves. This could be all of a sudden, the Blazers offseason becomes that much more important. It becomes that much more important because the next coach is going to be the guy that, one, has to develop Scoot, has to develop whoever they get because of where they're at in the lottery. It could be
1 or 7 or 1 through 7.
With honestly, the odds in the top three is where you want to be in this draft. Not a great draft at all. But if they get one and they get a guy like Alex Sarr, now we're talking.
When you got a guy that has the tools if everything hits to be a defensive